Jason Fladlin here, and on today's live webinar, you're going to discover the profit shift that's set to occur on Amazon that, in my opinion, is going to meet many new millionaires. And I'm going to show you why it's critically important, why you must get in on this and get going before September 30th if you have any hope of really cashing in on the biggest chunk of this gold rush here. And I chose the word gold rush very specifically because I have some experience with gold rushes. I've been part of and seen many online gold rushes firsthand. And I'm not just a gold miner, if you will, either. I am a proud shovel seller. So not only do I mine the gold, I help others mine it as well. And I've made a lot of people really, really rich, especially on Amazon, when it comes to these types of opportunities. Now, every seller or every pitchman of every get-rich opportunity, they all have these very compelling reasons to buy their courses. They will say things like, you don't need any experience, and you could start with next to nothing, and you can see immediate results. And tell me if you've heard any or all of these tried and true marketing lines trotted out before in front of you. Now, let me tell you something. Lies. 99% of the time, those claims that are made are, let's call them what they are, lies. They're just not true. Now, in the rare instance where such opportunities do appear, because they do appear very, very rarely, but when they do appear, here's what they have in common. They don't last very long, okay? I got my first glimpse of what I would call the holy grail of online profits, the true game changer of making money online in 2012. And that's where I first discovered, tested, and then perfected this approach. First for myself, then for thousands of others. And when I saw all the successes, I didn't celebrate. Instead, I thought, finally, I found it. Listen, the first website I ever built was 1996, right before I started high school. I've had PayPal since 2003, right before Elon Musk sold it to eBay. I put videos on YouTube before Google owned it. Built some of the first ever commercial brand pages on Facebook. And my business partner, Wilson Matos, and I, who co-founded Rapid Crush, we practically printed money with mobile in 2011, way before the web was automatically responsive and you could view it on multiple different devices. Now, we've trained and we've been on the forefront of a lot of things on the internet, and here's some of the ways in which we have created what I call from scratch millionaires, meaning people that started with nothing and were able to actually build significant game-changing, life-changing fortunes. Now, everybody who's out there trying to train you on webinars or on YouTube or in video courses or wherever, they can all make claims like, we have the best, or this is the easiest, or here's the most effective way, blah. These gurus know not what they speak of. I've been on the leading, bleeding edge more times than I could even count, and I pull no punches, as you've probably already observed. And most how to make money online stuff, most make money on the internet stuff, it will fail for 99% of the people who buy it and try it. And the question is why? Why is the failure rate so high? Well, I'll tell you why. Most plans on the internet or most processes, they're incomplete, they're ineffective, they take far too long to see a payoff, they cost far too much to get started, both in time and money, and they don't last. They're tactical at best. They're like tinfoil. Easy in, easy out. But here's why they mostly fail more than any other reason. They don't add value to make the world better. They do not make a positive increase to the world at large. That's why they fail. Now, when it comes to making money online, the approach I'm going to show you today, this is exactly the same approach that if any of my 3 great children came to me and said, Dad, I want to do what you do. Where should I start? The internet's a big place. What specifically should I do? I'm going to show them the same thing that I'm going to show you today. It's what I call the single greatest online opportunity. And now is the best time for it. So you ready for it? Cheese graters. They're what? Cheese graters are the key to the opportunity. Now, unfortunately, sell somebody a cheese grater, it doesn't change their lives. Neither do cutting boards, neither do digital scales, nor meat thermometers. I've sold all of these, but more important than what I sell, it's where I sell, which is, of course, on Amazon. And here's what I love about Amazon. First, Amazon does all the heavy lifting, literally, with their fulfillment. And question to you, where else can you ship to half of the United States in 2 days or less and do so with free shipping? There's nowhere else. Amazon is by far the leader in that. Amazon, just to show you how powerful Amazon is, they have warehouses within 20 miles of nearly half of the US population. That's insane. So keep your garage space, keep your basement space, keep your living rooms, right? Here's how this works. Your products will go directly from a manufacturer of the product, directly to Amazon, from Amazon to the customer. And that means you can sell products that you never touch, which is generally 90% of the time the products that we sell on Amazon, we have never touched, smelt, felt, or dealt with, right? I'm going to talk more about that here on shortly. Second thing you should know about Amazon, in addition to them doing the fulfillment, is Amazon is the most trusted online brand in the world. They're also the most valuable online brand in the world. And here's why trust is important. It's because when strangers who have never heard of you are going to give you money sight unseen, not having trust makes that nearly impossible. But when you sell on Amazon, customers automatically trust you simply because your product is on Amazon. It's kind of like going into a store like a Costco or a Walmart or a Target. You don't question the individual brands in those products that show up on the shelves. You just say they must be good because they're in the store. And that's what happens when you sell on Amazon. And in fact, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but over half of the products sold on Amazon come from people like you and I. We're called third-party sellers. When we really, honestly, we bring the party, if you will. In a 2018 public letter to shareholders, Jeff Bezos, who created Amazon, who is the richest person in the world, let me quote him. He said the following: "Third-party sellers are kicking our first-party butt badly." All right? During coronavirus, every part of Amazon grew. Third-party sellers sold the most by far. They outpaced every single body, right? And one of the reasons for that is because Amazon sells convenience more than they sell products. Amazon is by far the most convenient place to shop online. Amazon provides one-click purchasing, which they have a patent on. See that little R with a circle on it? Nobody else can even advertise this because Amazon owns the patent on it. Amazon provides one-click purchasing to hundreds of millions of credit cards that it has on file. And Amazon now also leads the world in zero-click purchasing. Zero-click purchasing, such as, hey, Alexa, buy dog shampoo. The easiest and the most trusted place to shop online is Amazon, and it's not even close. They are bigger than the next 22 marketplaces combined. And Amazon is worldwide. Now, they've having trouble getting off the ground with their worldwide access, not because of anything other than adoption. Even though Amazon has customers in 180 plus countries and you can sell to each and every single one of them from anywhere, sadly, most brands don't sell to any other country other than maybe the .com or the country that they're in. So there's massive opportunity here. And Amazon, just to put it simply, biggest store on earth. Need we even say more? This is what the opportunity represents. This is what we're playing with, all right? And on today's webinar, I'm going to expose bare for you this exact approach that allowed only 421 sellers to generate over $500 million in trackable, verifiable sales on Amazon. The specific figure is $510,397,441 worth. But it's easier to say $500 million. So you're going to discover that. And by the way, they did it when I think it was 5 times harder and for half the size of the pie that's up for grabs, which is the end of 2020. And speaking of money, because I'm going to throw some big numbers at you today, but I don't think they're really that big. How much money do you need? Everybody seems to overestimate this. Right before I got on this webinar, I saw this article on Reddit about Leonard Cohen, the great folk singer, who lost his whole retirement. His plan was to retire in like a monastery, a monk monastery, but he ran out of money and they kicked him out of a place where he's supposed to renounce the world. We underestimate how much money we need. You want to be a millionaire? Good. That's a good start. That might get you through retirement. Maybe. Is that what you want? A maybe? I don't think so, right? I think you need far much more money than you think or anticipate. And if you already know you need far much more money than what normal people think, then you should feel good about that. You should not feel like it's greedy or that you're taking more than your fair share or any of that nonsense. You're going to need a lot of money if you really want to do the things that you should be able to do in life. And that's an important question, probably now arguably more important than ever, because we live in times of both massive chaos and massive opportunity. Right now, there are some people getting crazy rich at a staggering rate higher than ever, but there's also a significant amount of people that are unsure of even where their next meal is going to come from. But here's the thing. You give your 6-year-old niece $20 for her birthday and she instantly becomes worth more than 25% of the people in America, what to speak of what's going on in the world. People these days are not just broke, they're broken and they're underwater. And so with your money, buying Rolexes and Porsches and all that stuff, that would be cool and that's fun, right? But what would truly be life-changing for you? And it's important that we understand this because what's at stake? I'm going to need leverage to help you get going, to get you moving. That's the hardest task that I have before me here today, is to get you to take the first step in the right direction. So let me ask you this question. How much money would peace of mind be worth to you if you could write a check, hand it over to somebody, and in exchange they could give you peace of mind? How big of a check would you want to write? If it was $1 million, would it be a good deal? And I think the answer to that is yes, because here are the pains of lack of finances. Here's what they are: anxiety, fear, panic attacks, depression, guilt, denial of reality, numbness to the world around you. You can't even sleep at night. It will affect your health. Your wealth can affect your health if you don't have wealth, right? It will affect your relationship. 41% of couples say that debt is the thing that they argue the most about. And I always think about this: how much better would the world be if money did not get in the way of you and your loved ones? And that stings me extra hard today because last night I had to make a decision to give my dog emergency surgery that not too long ago in my life, even if I wanted to save his life, I couldn't, because I wouldn't be able to write the check for it. So how much better could your life be with those around you if money were not an issue or a concern? And what's choice worth to you? I don't know about you, but to me, choice is worth everything. See, very few people get to decide exactly where they want to live and how they want to raise their family. Most of us don't get past the basics on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And most of us die seeing less than 1% of this beautiful, beautiful earth. And where would you love to visit, but you currently can't afford to, either because you can't take the time off or you can't buy the plane ticket, right? For example, you can't describe a sunrise. I meant Hala Akala. I can never say it right, but I can see it without ever having to say it. And it takes my breath away every single time. You can't look at it from a picture. You have to experience it in person. So what would truly be life-changing for you? I'm bringing this up for you because what I'm going to ask you to do is likely out of your comfort zone. And you're going to want to push back at me. And you're going to want to not want to do it. And that doesn't help either you or me. So this is the leverage to get you excited to do the needful. And really what's game-changing for most of us is not millions. It's just a little bit different in the short term. For example, what could you do with an extra $5,000 per month if it meant working only 3 to 7 hours a week to get it? What to speak of its compounding effect? Because it can compound. Can it compound? Absolutely. But if you just had an extra $5,000 in wiggle room per month, does your lifestyle drastically change for the better? And I think it does. And that's really where we start. Now, there's 2 things stopping you from what I'm going to show you here today. The first thing is not being aware of the opportunity and its specificness. But the second thing is your why. And that's why I'm spending a lot of time on the why first. I will give you the how-to. The step-by-step is simple. The process is easy. But unless you have your leverage to do it, you will not change whatever your current habits and behaviors are. And I think Archimedes said it best. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. He says, "Give me a lever long enough and I shall move the world." And your why is your lever. Now, like most of you, and most of the people I've seen that have become successful financially, the why comes from tragedy usually. I know my why did. I was 8 years old. It was a Sunday. I remember it very well. And I fell out of a tree. I was climbing this tree. And on the way down, I reached out and I grabbed a branch and didn't quite hold on to it to break my fall. It ripped right through my hand. And there was blood gushing out. Not like oozing out, like spurting with my heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. But I wasn't crying. And I remember feeling very proud of myself. Because I'm like, wow, I really did it. Even though I'm hurt right now, I'm keeping my calm. I'm keeping my cool. I'm not freaking out. I'm not crying. I did start crying, though. And that's when my dad saw me. Because I expected him to come over and hug me and tell me it was going to be okay. Instead, he screamed at me and began to berate me and put me down. And it's hard for me to tell this story. And until last year, I would never share this story because it was so traumatic to me. Because here's why he was upset at me. He says, you can't get hurt on a Sunday because we can't afford to go to the emergency room. And that was the day that my life changed forever. That was the day that I made a vow. And I vowed to the world, an 8-year-old kid's vow to the world. I said, when I grow up, first I'm going to make enough money to take care of myself. Then I'm going to make enough money to take care of somebody that I love. Then I'm going to make enough money to take care of everyone that I love. And that's a good start. Okay? Now listen, I got the bling too. I got the nice home, got the nice cars. I like art, so I got, Dali, Van Gogh, Chagall. I got some of those. Right? What you do with your money is your business. Okay? I'm here today because I feel called and compelled to help you get that money. My question to you is, are you ready for it? Because on the top of it, 1 in 5 Amazon sellers sell more than $1 million a year. And that number's dated. That's from 2018. That number's better than 1 in 5 these days, okay? So when you see success stories like these on Amazon, this is where this comes from, okay? Now, if you research courses and trainings and people who try to start an Amazon business, you're going to discover, sadly, that most people, no matter how much money, time, and effort they spend learning Amazon and how to be successful with it, never even get a single product live on Amazon. No matter how much money they spend, no matter how many courses they watch, no matter how many training things that they participate in, they don't even get step 1 done. Why? It's complicated. It's complicated. It's like a status of your relationship status on Facebook. It's complicated sometimes, right? Because see, listen, you got to pick the right products on Amazon. Not any old product will do. You have to have the right products. You got to understand your profit margins, which is not easy and it's not intuitive. It takes 5 decoder rings, it feels like, to really understand what profit potential could be when you're starting out. And you got to learn how to compete with existing high quality products that not only have already sold millions, but have thousands of positive reviews to show for it. How is that even possible to navigate through the beginning steps of this Amazon opportunity? Yet these customers that you see in front of you here who follow the process that I'm going to show you today, they speak the truth. If you can get over those initial hurdles, you will crush it. But there's a lot to bite off at first. It's just like learning to ride a bike. Once you got it, you really got it. But the problem is, in this business, most people hop on the bike once or twice, fall down, skin their knees, and then they give up on their dreams. Don't be that person. Fall down 7 times, yeah, but get up on the 8th. Are you up for that? Because I've spent thousands of hours figuring out how to the chaotic year of 2020, how to navigate through it so I can make it so that any one of you on this damn webinar who truly wants to get rich can have the simplest, easiest, and most effective, least risky approach to sell on Amazon. And my motivation for that, I will reveal to you later. It's not what you think it is. And I'm here to declare to you that right now, today, I have it. Success on Amazon, like most things, is not obvious. This is where success starts on Amazon. It starts with understanding this one part that shows up on every single Amazon listing. Now, most people who do business on Amazon in terms of buying products off of Amazon, they have no idea of the subtleness of what is going on underneath the hood here on an Amazon listing. From a consumer's perspective, here's how it usually works. They say, oh, I want blank. So they go to Amazon and they search for it. So, oh, I want some dental floss. They go to Amazon, they type in dental floss. They see a listing. They say, ooh, that looks pretty cool. They click it and they buy it. And I swear to God, 1 out of 4 times they do it on the phone while they're on the toilet, right? With a 1 click and it's done. What they're not aware of is who specifically is selling them the product. To most shoppers, they think, well, duh, it's obvious. I know who's selling me the product. It's Amazon. And that's the case less than half the time, okay? It's only the case when if you go to a listing and you look very closely, you see the ships from Amazon.com and sold by Amazon.com. Far more common is to see this on a listing. More oftentimes you'll see products that look like this, where the product is merely fulfilled by Amazon, but sold by someone else, someone like you, someone like me, a la what we call a third party. So in this case, Canara is the brand. Ever heard of Canara? I bet you haven't. I haven't either. It's an unremarkable brand that nobody's ever heard of who is selling this product. Amazon is shipping it, but Canara is selling it, right? Now, in this particular instance, Canara is the only one selling this product. So it doesn't say also sold by these 6 other sellers or these 27 other sellers or these 156 other sellers, right? But that's rare. Almost always there are multiple sellers selling the exact same product on an Amazon listing. In fact, Amazon encourages this by advertising the fact to make it as easy as possible to have as many people selling a product as possible. So they say, have one to sell? Sell on Amazon. Just click this button and get started. Now, in the instances where you see listings on Amazon where there is only one seller, it's likely because the product is being sold by what we call a private label seller. So a private label Amazon seller, generally speaking, this is what they do. They find a manufacturer, often in China, and they say, hey, listen, I want to sell my own version of blank. So create my own specific version of that. And they have to come up with their own unique design because they are both the brand owner of the product and the seller of the product. So they have to come up with the design. They have to come up with the packaging. They have to come up with the logos and what we call the brand identities. And that's kind of expensive and it requires a little bit of expertise, right? And then they got to figure out the complications of logistics, such as shipping it from China to the US and clearing customs and freight forwarding and all this different kind of concepts. So do we go by air? Do we go by boat? And then once it gets to Amazon, since it's brand new and nobody's ever heard of it, because it was literally created out of thin air, the seller has to then somehow have their product show up for search terms, such as if they were dental floss, or if they were a jump rope, a skipping rope, or a jump rope, or a speed jump rope, or whatever the case may be, right? Now, this is a great business model, and I know firsthand because we've done it very successfully, and we have helped thousands of others people do this model successfully for the tune of 5 figures a month, 6 figures a month, and in certain instances, even 7 figures a month, building 8-figure business wins for these types of approaches. The plus side is if you can do this, you get what's called the buy box, free and clear. You're the only one, the one seller with the one product. You own the buy box. You will show up there 100% of the time. Unfortunately, though, this is not how most of Amazon works, okay? So I want you to take a look at this listing in comparison. This is a comic book board, and it has 6 different sellers who are selling the exact same product. And so they have to share the listing, right? Now, by the way, if you don't know what this is, as a kid, I used to collect comic books, and you want to kind of store them so they don't wrinkle and crinkle and get damaged. So you put them in these things that have a strong backing and a little plastic thing. It's a pretty simple product, right? Any one of you could make this from scratch if you had some cardboard and some plastic on hand. It's a basic product. But there are 6 people selling this specific type of comic book board. But how does Amazon decide, hey, I want to put Canara as the seller. So when somebody clicks it, Canara makes the money, Canara gets paid, right? How do they determine that? And in this case, there's actually 8 sellers selling some of these products, some of them 6, some of them whatever, right? And now, here's how Amazon would determine this if all things were equal, which in the real world, they never are. So if there were 6 people selling this product in the exact same way at the exact same price with the exact same ratings, Amazon would just rotate through them. So the first shopper would see Canara as the sold by. The second shopper would see MTG Biz, who also sells this product. The third shopper would see Nature's Health, which, believe it or not, a company called Nature's Health is selling a comic book board, but whatever, right? And they would just rotate through them, which is kind of cool because this product, believe it or not, sells 102 a day. Yes, I know it's weird, but that's how big Amazon is, that some obscure product like a comic book backing board can sell 100 units a day. Right? So this one sells usually about 102 units a day. So in this case, in an equal world where everything just gets rotated, seller 1 gets shown, then seller 2, then seller 3, and so on and so forth, they would all be sharing 17 slices of the pie. So they would each be making 17 sales, right? Which is pretty good. Maybe, right? I think it's pretty good. But that's if things are equal, and they rarely are. So in this particular listing, in this specificness, of the example of the comic book backing board, MTG Biz, they use Amazon's fulfillment. So that's great. And I would suggest all of you let Amazon fulfill it, because Amazon's better at it than you. And Amazon would rather show you as a customer something that they can fulfill, as opposed to some guy fulfilling it however he wants to fulfill it, or some gal fulfilling it however she wants to fulfill it. So because MTG sells it through Amazon, anybody who's a Prime member of Amazon can buy this product and get free shipping. MTG Biz also has a 98% positive rating, which I think is because they let Amazon sell it. Or fulfill it, I should say, right? They let Amazon fulfill it. Sharp Hobby also sells these comic book backing boards, but they do their own fulfillment from their own warehouses or garages or basements or whatever, and they only have a 73% positive rating as a seller. So the only time Sharp Hobby distribution will ever show up in the buy box of this listing is if every other seller runs out of inventory. That's pretty much it, right? So the reality is, even though there are 6 sellers of this particular product, I know, because of my understanding of how Amazon's buy box algorithm works, that only 4 of them will be seen at any given time. So usually, instead of 6 people sharing 102 cells, it's 4 sellers sharing 100 cells, and then the other 2 maybe get 1 a day. Now you may be wondering, how do I know this? Well, I personally know this because I've spent over 7 years now eating and living and breathing and sleeping Amazon. So I understand some of the inner workings, and I'm kind of connected. But you will know how to do this before the end of this webinar with a free app that I'll show you. I'll show you exactly where to get it so you can install it. And then anytime you go to an Amazon listing, it will tell you there are this many sellers of this product that are really rotating through the buy box. So I don't care how many sellers Amazon tells you. There could be 60 sellers of the product, but there may be only 3 rotating it. So you can be the 4th that rotates for it. And that's actually easier than you would imagine. But we'll get into that. I'm jumping ahead of myself, right? What's even more important to me that you understand is the following, that you can look at a listing like this and know that if you were to sell this product, you would pretty much to a penny count on being able to make this much money. So I can look at this comic book backing boards and say, if you were to become a reseller of this product, you would comfortably be able to make $2,173.82 in net profit. And that's conservatively. I bet you would make more. Now, before we go any further, I want to be very clear here. $2,173.82 net profit. What does that mean? That means of this money, how much do you get to put in your pocket? And the answer is all of it, right? This isn't like you got to cut it up and then you got to hand it some over here, and you got to pay off some people over here. No, this is to you. So even though this product sells 102 units a day at $23, they don't get to keep all that money. You don't get to keep all that money. Amazon takes 15% right off the top of that $23, right? So when I say I'm looking at this listing, this is what you're putting in your pocket. This is your money free and clear. That's what I'm talking about. That's net profit. And it's probably greater than this. This is a conservative approach, okay? This is why you're going to see so many success stories with this process, because of the certainty. The unfortunate problem with trying to start most businesses online is if you're the 1 in 100, you win big, but the other 99 fail miserably. There is one rags to riches story, but the other ones are rags to even worse rags. But there is a formula here to this process that eliminates risk. And when there's no risk involved, there is only reward. I know that's a big claim. I will prove it to you, right? But here's what I want you to be able to do. By the end of this webinar, you can scout products on Amazon in minutes. Then you can find the source so you can be a reseller of these existing products that are already in demand, that are already high quality, already selling on Amazon, where you can produce revenue like this, and you can do it steadily month in and month out. Most important to understand is this. It's not the person, it's the process. It's not the process. It is the process, right? It's not the person, it's the process. Meaning young, old, domestic, international, experienced, just starting out, man, woman, college educated, grade school dropout, Gen X, Y, Z, Zoomer or Boomer, I pay no mind to you. If it's not the person, but the process, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is the following. If you follow the process, you can expect the profit. And the process starts with profit. See, most Amazon sellers, they have it backwards. They go product first and then profit second. The problem is sometimes they focus too much of the product, and even worse, they fall in love with the product. Write this down. Never fall in love with a product. Instead, fall in love with the product. Profit. Don't fall in love with the product. Fall in love with the profit. Now, let's be clear. You're only going to sell high-quality products, guaranteed every single time. You will sell the best quality products you can sell. And I want you to sell those. But I want you to sell any and every ethical product under the sun if it means that you put in forth a little effort and make a consistent, recurring stream of profit. Doesn't matter the product as long as it's high quality and ethical. We want the profit that that product creates. Most people won't be able to get over this concept, and that's why they don't deserve the riches. Because this formula requires so little time, it's not important how big a slice of the pie is that you get. In other words, any money that flows to you free and clear is worth taking. If there's little to no effort and time involved, take all the money that is going to flow to you, all right? I want you to think of it this way. If you're walking down the street and you see a $1 bill in front of you, and you also see a $5 bill in front of you, and a $10 bill, and a $20 bill, and a $50 bill, and a $100 bill, don't say to yourself, which one of these should I pick up? Say to yourself, let me bend down and pick them all up at the same time, regardless of whether it's a 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, or 100. You're bending down, you might as well grab them all. And so too is this approach to Amazon profits. Grab all the profits. Now, I never, ever, ever want you to sell a product on Amazon without first knowing with absolute certainty how much that product can make you in profit by month's end. But you don't need a crystal ball to do this, just an understanding of how Amazon works. So when I look at this product and say this is going to sell about $3,555 a month in net profit to you at the very least, that's the kind of certainty I'm talking about. Or when we look at this product and we're like, this is a cool $2,000 on an easy day that's in your pocket net profit at the very least. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to certainty. Or we can look at the smoke odor exterminator, Rasta Love. What a great name, right? $3,392.99. I am pretty confident at the very least in net profit in your pocket that this product can sell. Now, what is this? This is not even a mask. This is a cushion to the mask, right? $4,574 per month at the very least in net profit in your pocket. That's the kind of certainty that I want you to have, like an X-ray vision when you look at an Amazon listing. My question to you is, which, if any, of these products should you sell? And the answer is maybe all of them, or maybe none of them. To know the answer, we got to go deeper, right? So let's look at that first one. If the CPAP cushion requires that you put in 50 hours to make $4,500 in net profit by the end of the month, whereas the comic book boards took you 2 hours and you made $2,000 in net profit per month, which should you sell? For some of you, the answer is both. Because whether you put in 50 hours or you put in 2 hours, money's money. Sometimes it's better than putting in 50 hours right now, which some of you are doing and seeing nothing. So it's better than that, right? So it's not just how much profit the product can make you. It's the amount of time it takes you to realize it and the effort involved as well. So one of the things that eludes most people who otherwise could become Amazon millionaires but stay in poverty is the fact that they miss the concept that a lot of selling on Amazon is front-loaded work. Meaning a majority of the effort to make your first month's profit never has to be repeated again. It's front loaded, okay? So what might take you 10 hours on a product month one to get up and running and selling may only take you 2 hours at most, probably closer to 10 minutes. But let's just say 2 hours to maintain it. So yeah, the first month you worked hard, maybe you put in 10 hours on the product and you made 4,000. That's pretty good. That's like $450 an hour. But this isn't a dollars per hour scenario, because just making sure that your land is protected on Amazon may be a very short amount of effort per month, but it will consistently make you the same amount of money. This is not theory. We know the sales history of these products, and I'll show you how we know that, right? This is just basic pattern recognition. Yeah, we're going to have to push the car to jumpstart it, but once the car starts rolling, it stays rolling all on its own. So that's the kind of concept that I'm talking about here. So if all these products right here took you 10 hours a piece, that means 40 total hours, and you've made 13,000, lucky number 13,000 in net profit in 1 month. For a majority of you, that would be life-changing. $13,000 on 4 products in your pocket. That's a 6-figure income a year. So this means by month 2, although you don't have to put in 40 hours anymore, maybe you put in only 10 to maintain it. Now all of a sudden you got $27,000 with just a few more hours of effort. And then in 1 calendar year with 4 measly, lousy little products, you have net profited $160,000 plus dollars. And that's not even accurate, by the way, because your profits will significantly increase in November and in December, because 80% of sales on Amazon occurred in those 2 coveted months. Here's a success concept that if you get this, I think the game is already half won. Robert Schuller said it best. He said, spectacular achievement is always preceded by unspectacular preparation. Right? This is unspectacular, but this is how success looks like in the real world. A lot of tiny little wins add up to one big win. Far too often, so many people are like, I got to hit the jackpot. I got to hit the jackpot. And they strike out every single time. I want measly little tiny income streams that take a little bit of effort up front and then kind of coast, because we can stack how many of them? A lot. And over time, if we compound them out, this is what it looks like in the real world. This is how the typical Amazon millionaire plays the game. And so when you see 1 in 5 Amazon sellers who do over $1 million in sales per year, this is usually how they do it, by compounding small profits over a period of time. Now, here are 2 big challenges that will keep most wannabe Amazon sellers in the poorhouse. And we're going to decimate these, hopefully, by the end of this webinar. The first one is an utter disgust over basic math. I'm not talking calculus. I am talking elementary style math, but people just don't like it. And so they miss the game, right? But the second one is also equally likely to rob them. And that's the fear of doing one simple single social function. Because when you were little, your parents told you not to talk to strangers, and you believed that that should continue into your adulthood. So the fear of this one simple single social function can also hold you back. Now, before we break down these 2 things, let's talk about what will not hold you back. Time will not hold you back. If there's anything I'm confident of, it's that anyone on this webinar right now, regardless of situation, has enough time to make this business work. And yes, I'm talking about you if you have more than 1 job right now. I'm talking about you if you're up to your ears in children. And I'm talking about you if you already own a business that you feel you don't even have enough time to operate now. And this is because Amazon is autopilot. And that's what I love about it. Now, yes, there is a learning curve like anything in life, okay? Just like that dreaded bike you once had to learn to ride when you were younger, but now you can do it once and for all, and you could probably ride with no handlebars, right? And that's Amazon. They're hands off. The products I'm going to show you how you can scout, source, and sell, they can all be sold hands off. And once you get it live without doing much else, they can sell at a predictable, steady rate, month in and month out, all right? Now, this is not like most businesses, which stop making you money when you stop working on them. Nor is this like other businesses that require massive staffs and tons of systems to get you out of working in your business and instead working on your business. This is not like that either, right? This Amazon opportunity comes out automatically running as a well-oiled, fine-tuned machine. So it's not time that's the issue. What about capital? Okay, not on the list in my opinion. Generally speaking, there are only two approaches to making money in business. And they both have massive drawbacks to them. The first approach is what I call the franchise type. It doesn't have to be a franchise exactly, but the franchise is the best example of this. It's a great model because someone somewhere has already figured out all the systems. They have already built the brand name recognition. They've already created the trust. And so if you take on one of these business types, you can open it up and already have demand from customers eager to spend money with you. It's a great business model. It's the most successful business model historically out there. But unfortunately, it costs usually about 6 figures to get going. And it has massive overhead ongoing costs that you have to deal with in addition to that. And oftentimes it has net worth minimum requirements that, oh, if you want to get rich, you already got to be rich. Well, that kind of sucks. And so the other alternative is the no upfront capital businesses. These are the ones that require like no money. And that's how I started. That's how I made my first million. Here was my cost to get started. $10 a month to host a website, which you don't have to do with Amazon, by the way. $9 a year for a domain name, which you don't have to do, by the way, with Amazon, and a 3% fee from PayPal because they were the one collecting the money for me. So these types of businesses you can do with zero money up front. And if you have no money, this is your only option, right? And that was my only option when I started. I had no money. But if you don't pay in money, you pay in time. And so for many years, I wrote every word of every product and wrote every advertisement for every product and did support on every single support ticket that came in. And I'm horrible at that. And I spent crazy, stupid hours promoting my products so people could find them and buy them. Yes, I made money while I slept. The problem was I just didn't sleep that often. I have come to conclude that the best businesses to start are those that require some upfront capital. I'm not talking a whole bunch, right? But just enough to weed out the pretenders from those who are truly serious about their life and their legacy and their financial freedom. See, when there's no barrier to entry, everybody and their brother tries to do it. Remember that whole flipping houses craze of the real estate bubble? When your uncle all of a sudden became a real estate pro, that's when you knew the bubble was ready to pop. You know what happens when 6,000 people try to walk through a single door? Nobody gets in. Here's some real forward, straight talk to you. To be fully in on this business on Amazon in this process, you're going to need about $2,000 up front to get going. This is the way it is. There's no way around it. So it's better to acknowledge it and accept that, right? Now, the great news is you can scale to millions off of that $2,000 investment without having to sink in any more money out of pocket because it can compound on itself, right? And here's how this looks based off the $500 million in customer results. Here's what we know. You put a $2K investment to get your business started, and you'll generally see it grow by about 30% per month. I know that's a big number. I'm just going off the historicals, all right? That's where this comes from. So a $2,000 investment in month one churns a profit of $600. But as Einstein said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earn it, and he who doesn't pays for it. So that piddly little $600 net profit in month one becomes this. And then each month, without adding any new products, month in and month out, within 24 months, you've turned $2,000 into $1 million plus. And this is what Einstein means about compound interest being the eighth wonder of the world, or compounding being the eighth wonder of the world, right? This all started with a tiny $600 profit on month one and reinvested within 24 months over and over again, turned into $1 million. Now, it's not quick. 2 years is not quick. It's not a get-rich-quick approach. It's not quick, but then again, 2 years isn't exactly an eternity either, is it? Now, what you pay in product in this model is what you don't pay in hundreds or thousands of hours of your own time. I'd argue it takes less time, actually, maybe close to the same time as passively investing in the stock market. Because a lot of people I know who try to get into the market, next thing they have all these news channels open and they're checking the tickers, they're on their phone every minute looking at newsletters and updates, and they ain't getting no 30% return either. Which is why I don't want you to own stock in Amazon, but rather have products stocked at Amazon. And the tech's not an issue either. It's time, money, nor tech is the issue. The technical stuff, pretty sure you have everything in you to be able to be successful with this because it's pretty much all fill in the blanks. There's no coding required. There's no advertising or marketing stuff. Yes, it is online, but it's less about, fancy search engine, Facebook retargeting, chat bot, AI, gobbledygook. And it's more similar to putting your product on the shelf at a store where people already go in there to shop and where there are already order takers in place at the checkout, ringing up those customers and then just sending you the profits. And on Amazon, this is what I like about Amazon, the profits get sent to you to your bank account of choice like clockwork every 14 days. And unlike physical stores, what I love about Amazon is it's a virtual shelf space. And so it means that it's an unlimited shelf space, which also means that you can do this anywhere in the world. As long as you have an internet connection, a bank account to take the money in the right approach. And it doesn't take much time, and it doesn't take a lot of capital to get started, but it can fulfill all your financial desires and fuel your independence. And really it comes down to this, the two big challenges. I am not oversimplifying this. If you can do these two things, I am so confident that you will make life-changing money on Amazon. And the first one is getting over the utter disgust of a certain specific math equation, which I'll show you here very shortly. And second, getting over the fear of this one simple single social function that most people just for whatever reason, they don't have the leverage to get over it, which is why I've built so much leverage here for you so far. Let's start with the math, right? Now, I have found, having worked with over 50,000 customers who've paid me for my expertise over the years, that at least half of my audience refuses to move forward on anything if I start to break out a calculator. And I swear they'd rather be poor than confront some basic arithmetic. Now, I empathize with you. The way you were taught math in school is about as fun as getting a root canal. This isn't calculus, what I'm about to show you, but you will need to know some basic equation stuff if you want to excel at this Amazon business. So my question to you is, are you willing to attempt these equations? If I can assure you that once and for all, once you know them, you'll be at the biggest advantage over every other Amazon seller that exists out there. Would you do it if that were the situation? So when I say that I can look at a listing like this and in less than 2 months, I can say, hey, this product will throw off in net profit $3,555.09 in the pocket if I just were able to get my version of this listed on Amazon. The question is, how do I know that? And this is how I know this. So if there's ever any time for you to write down anything, it's right now, because I'm going to give you the formula. You ready for it? Here's the formula right here. Now it's 4 numbers. That's it. If you can plug in 4 numbers into an equation, so number 1 times number 2 times number 3 divided by number 4, if you can do this, you're more than halfway down the road to success. Now, let me tell you about these numbers. One of these numbers always stays the same for each and every product. So it's really 3 numbers because one is always the same. One number is flat out given to you. So if you have eyes, you can find this number. One number requires you use a free website to find it out. And one number requires you use a free web app to find it out. Now, I promise you this, that this will be the most technical thing you'll have to do in this business. This is your learning how to ride the bike. All right? So let's break down these numbers. Here's the first number. First number is easy as pie to plug into. It's the price on the listing. So in this case, what listing are we looking at? We're looking at chainsaw safety pants. So, if you're, walking around with a chainsaw outside cutting things down, you should probably be in some safety pants, right? And so a pair of these chainsaw safety pants sell on Amazon for $47.88. So we plug that in to the first number of the equation. Now, the second number, this is the hardest number to figure out. The second number in this instance is 1,980. And what does that represent? That represents the number of units per month that this product sells. So yes, believe it or not, chainsaw safety pants sell that many units per month of this one product, right? And here's how you figure this out. So on almost every Amazon listing, under a product information section, there is something called a bestsellers rank. And the bestsellers rank is something reported from Amazon itself, and it's updated and current within 60 minutes or less. It's always fresh, and it's always the latest number. So in this case, this product was, at the time that I took a screenshot of it, the 3,538th best-selling product within the last 60 minutes on Amazon in the category of tools and home. So we know where it ranks in comparison to every other product. So there's 3,537 other products in this category outselling this, but how do we know how many units 3,538th in this category is? We need to convert it. Here's how we convert it. We use a free app. So we go to this website. It's called junglescout.com/estimator, and we begin to plug in numbers, okay? Now, there are tons of different tools out there that supposedly can translate bestsellers rank into sales per month, but most of them are not inaccurate. They're not accurate. They are very inaccurate. And I've seen paid ones where you had to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to use them to get quote unquote proprietary data, and the numbers were wrong because we had run our own products through them. And we're like, yeah, we don't sell that, right? So having tried every app and having coached and trained over 15,000 high-paid sellers on Amazon over the last 7 years, this free tool is by far the most accurate. So this is the one I want you to use, junglescout.com/estimator. And all you do is you enter the bestsellers rank of that product, the Amazon marketplace, you plug that in there, which in this case is Amazon.com, the United States, and then you select the category, which was tools and home. Right? So we take the bestsellers rank of this product right here, 3,538. We plug that in, and we select the category in the marketplace, and then we click calculate sales, and that's where that number comes from, 1,980. So this product is selling 1,980 units per month at $47.88. So that's where the second number gets plugged into in the equation, all right? We're almost there. Third number. This is the constant, 0.15. This is, my friend, a super duper conservative profit margin estimation, right? Here is the assumption that goes into a 15% profit margin. It assumes you're brand new. It assumes you're going to place the smallest possible order to get started as a reseller of this product. It assumes you have no special arrangements with the manufacturer. It assumes you did not haggle or bargain or negotiate. So let's be clear here. In every scenario, with very rare exception, you can do better than 15%. But I like to be conservative. I like to be pleasantly surprised when I find out I got more money from Amazon than I anticipated. It's a far better life when that happens than get less than what you expected, right? So we plug in 0.15. And then what about this last number here? The last number in this particular equation is 4. And here's what you need to do. You need to use the web browser called Chrome, which is the most popular web browser on the internet. And then you need to go to the Chrome Web Store, or just search for this in Google, or go to the URL you see on your screen. They'll all lead you to the same place. And install this free Google Chrome web app that you see here called TWF Buy Box Scope Beta. All right? Sexy name, I know. It doesn't matter what the name is. Once you install this, if you turn it on, you can go to any listing and you're going to see this kind of ugly looking little blue box right here. And there are lots of number on that box, but there's only one that you should look at, and it's called Competitive FBA Offers, which in this particular instance for these chainsaw safety chaps, by the way, if they put pants in that title, they would make a lot more sales than they already make, but whatever. Right now, there are 3 sellers that are essentially sharing the buy box. So there's 1,980 sales, and it's being divided amongst 3 sellers. So if you could sell this product at the same price, you could be the 4 sellers. And that's where that comes in. Since we'll be joining in the fray, we add 1 to the number. So 3 plus 1 equals 4. And there you go. There's the equation. The product sells for $47.88. It sells a total of $1,980 per month at a 15% profit margin. And the buy box is rotated through 4 sellers. So if you do the math on this, 4788 times 1980 times 0.15, take that total divided by 4, you get the number $3,555.09, which means net profit in your pocket dollars. This product right now will make you $3,500 in net profit per month if you're able to sell it on Amazon. Now, really important things I've discovered in my life, I need to be shown more than once to truly understand them and to really make sure that it sinks in and that it locks in and that I get it. So let's run it one more time. Let's do another product. So I want to make sure you got this. So that way you can look at any product listing on Amazon and know in less than 2 minutes how much profit that product can make you month in and month out if you were to sell it on Amazon. So let's look at this product right here, ResMed AirTouch F20 Cushion Medium. Great title, right? I mean, sarcastic, obviously, right? Let's figure this out. So if you want to know what this equation is without the numbers substituted in there, it's price times units sold per month times profit margin divided by buy box sellers. So let's plug the numbers into the formula. So this product, believe it or not, sells for $30.10. How do we know that? It says it right on the listing, right? This product is, at the time that I took the screenshot, the 4,567th bestseller in the last hour in health and household. So we plug that in. Bestsellers rank 4, 5, 6, 7. Where is it being sold at? United States of America. What category is it in? Health and household. We put that number in. We calculate sales, and out comes 4,200 units. So believe it or not, this cushion is selling 4,200 times per month at $30.10. We assume a profit margin of 15%, which is ultra conservative. And just like the last one, this one also has 3 competitive sellers that are sharing the buy box. Add yourself in and you will be number 4. And if we crunch the numbers on that, here is a product that, believe it or not, will make you over $4,700 in net profit per month. One little measly, little ugly looking image of a product on Amazon that could make you $50,000 a year in your pocket. More than that, actually. Closer to $60,000 a year in your pocket. $60,000 a year. That's more than the average household makes in a year. And you can make that off of one measly little product if you can just somehow or other be a reseller of an existing product that's already selling on Amazon. That's the formula. Less important is how big the number is. More important is to understand how consistent the number is, because these numbers just continue to plug around at the same rate, because historically they've always sold about this much, right? So you know these numbers are going to be in there day in and day out, and it can be compounded. So this is how you can churn a small investment of $2,000 reinvested into $1 million in 2 years if you only made $600 in net profit in month 1. Are you starting to see the power of this model yet? So the first part of this is we got to know the math. I showed you the math. You're halfway there. So what's the second half? The second half is getting over the fear of this basic social function. And to set this up for you, let me tell you a quick story. You would not think it looking and listening to me now, but as a kid, I was shy as they come. If I were walking down the street, I saw you on the other end of the street, I'd cross the street just so I wouldn't have to make eye contact with you. The coronavirus has been a blessing in disguise for me because social distancing was a way of life for me ever since I could remember, right? I do not kid you. I used to be scared to order a pizza because I had to talk to a stranger on the other end. It was hard for me. I was very, very, very limited in my ability to reach out to people. And until I got over that fear, I remained broke and miserable. And that's why I found myself at the age of 25, even though I was smart and I was healthy, and even though I was sincere and I was a good kid, right? I still found myself broke, living in this tiny little shed, less than 400 square feet, where my office was my bedroom, was my living room. And when I finally broke out of this shell, that's when the world changed forever. In 3 years, I became a cash millionaire. And then in 2 years after that, I became a multi-millionaire cash millionaire. Now, one of the reasons in 2013, when we really started ramping up on Amazon and started really teaching other people to be successful selling on Amazon with private labels, is we really love the idea of sourcing from China because the whole thing could be done with email and Skype. I mean, they didn't speak the language that we spoke even very well. So there was not a lot of pressure. And even better is these factories, they love to be contact because they knew every time they were contact, they were going to get paid. And they're not too concerned about who's going to be paying them, or they're not too particular or where the money comes from, right? So this is one of the reasons why we are attracted to private labeling on Amazon. But these were for our own brands. Brands like this or this or this, those are other people's brands. And they've probably spent some time cultivating a presence on this brand and have already had success with this brand. So if they're going to allow you to sell their product on Amazon and represent them, you can't do it like a leech. You can't be a no good, no value adding leech. But unfortunately, most people who sell other products for brand owners, they're reseller of the brand owner's product on Amazon, they add no value And I would argue oftentimes they take away value. So you can't do that if you want to be successful. Now, let me give you a quick wholesaling crash course so you understand what I'm talking about here. If you're a brand, you got two ways that you can make money selling products. You can sell them one-off, or you can sell them in bulk. So take Coca-Cola, which is one of the most recognized brands in the world. There is no Coke store. There aren't Coke salespeople at every store selling Coke one can at a time, or at every sporting event selling Coke cans, or at every pizza party making sure all the kids are being plied with sweet, sugary Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola relies on resellers. So Coca-Cola wholesales their product to resellers who don't buy Coke by the can or even by the case. They buy it by the pallet, all right? And because they're buying it in bulk, they don't pay retail. They get discounts. And then they sell it at retail prices. And they keep the profits. And the more you buy, the bigger the discount. This is why when I told you your profit margin starting out is going to be small, because I don't want you to be buying in bulk. Not big bulk, just enough to get started, right? Now, here's the cool thing about an example like Coca-Cola. You don't have to sell someone on Coke. Either they want it or they don't want it, right? You don't personally have to advertise and create demand for Coke. You don't have to worry about the product quality or any of that kind of jazz, okay? You just put it on the shelf and people buy it, plain and simple. That's how the world of wholesaling and reselling works, right? You buy it wholesale and then you sell it at retail. And that's how 99% of all commerce has been done since the invention of commerce, because straight up, it's way too much to ask one single company to both be the brand owner and the retailer and the seller of the product, and to do all of it. So the wholesale model is pretty simple. In this particular specific instance of the wholesale model, here's how this works. Amazon does all the selling and fulfilling. The brand has already done its job establishing its product, its presence, and its quality on Amazon. And here's what your job is. Your job isn't just to buy their product in bulk. That's what everybody else does. That's lame, right? Your job is to add true real-world value. You see, other resellers, they're merely order placers with these brands. But you, my soon-to-be prosperous friend, you're going to add value in easy ways. Yes, they're easy, yet they're still very impactful and they're massively profitable. Now, when we taught our 15,000 plus Amazon sellers how to do private labeling, because these sellers had no branding, no presence, no recognition, no name recognition, no reviews, no nothing, we had to compete with guerrilla marketing. And so we had to find every little tiny edge we could to get an advantage. And that meant I read every single Amazon patent that I could get my hands on. And I spent millions of dollars testing Amazon's different algorithms for things like how to rank products on Amazon, how to win the buy boxes, how to get sponsored ads, and how to convert at a greater rate than anybody else so we can get the biggest conversion of browsers into buyers. Every little advantage we could find, no matter how tiny, we tested it like mad scientists in laboratories. And because of this, we were able to beat big established brands who looked at Amazon as just some other place to throw their product on a shelf and be done with it. Because they didn't understand Amazon had a lot of uniqueness to it. And we taught a lot of people based on this knowledge. And obviously it worked extremely well. In 2013, it worked great. 2014, it worked great. 2015, it worked great. But what we noticed is starting in about 2016, things got a little bit harder. And then they got more harder each and every month, it felt like. It seemed at the end of the day that we were fighting an uphill battle, that we were swimming upstream. And every year, the current got stronger, or every year, the hills seemed to get steeper and taller. I want you to look at this Amazon listing, like really look at it for a second with me here. And let's look at the product title specifically. Res Med Ear Touch F20 Cushion Medium, okay? I don't think you could write a worse title on this if you tried. And that's important because here is one absolute fact of selling on Amazon. The title is the most important part of your listing. That's where you always should start, with the title. And why is that the case? Searches, because a lot of Amazon buyers do searches. So for example, when a user goes to Amazon to buy a product, more than half the time they're going to put in a phrase such as CPAP mask. And then they're going to look through the results to see what they want to buy. But if you type in CPAP mask, this cushion for a CPAP mask doesn't show up anywhere. And a strong reason why is because there's no word that says mask in the title. Now listen, if you improve this title for the owner, here's what's awesome. You would make more than the $4,000 some odd in profit that this product already spits off, because you're increasing more shoppers who want to buy this product, the ease in which they can find this product, okay? But what's really cool about this is what we call the quad win effect. This is a case where the rising tide will lift all boats. You're going to boost the sales of every reseller of this product who's rotating in the buy box. You are making a bigger pie, so everybody's slice gets bigger. That makes every other reseller more money, but it makes the brand owner even more money. It makes Amazon happier because you're increasing the size of that pie for the sellers, and it makes the customer happier because they want to buy this product and they can't find it and they walk away empty-handed. They're not thrilled with Amazon either, okay? Are you getting what I'm saying here? You're not just another reseller, you're a value adder. I want you to say that out loud. I am a value adder. Now, it's really cool. Here's what I like about this. Even though the value you add is massive, it requires little to no effort to add that value. You ever heard the phrase that little hinges swing big doors? These are the little hinges right here. Like, I'll give you one. I'll give you an insight. Put the word best in every title that you possibly can. Because how do customers shop on Amazon? Best blank, best Bluetooth speaker, best jump rope. And right now this one doesn't have it. So in about 30 seconds, I changed the title from ResMed AirTouch F20 Cushion Medium to ResMed CPAP, which it does not have that in its title either. Don't ask me why, but it doesn't. Cushion, mask replacement, best for face, AirTouch F20 Medium. It's not a Pulitzer Prize winning title, but it was worth the 30 seconds of effort. Could potentially double the product sales, believe it or not, right? What most resellers are not aware of is you can edit or improve the listing once you become an authorized reseller of the product. Oftentimes the brand owner has no clue. Here's what the brand owner also doesn't have a clue of: how their product looks on Amazon. Do you think this is a good representation of this product? Do you think the brand owner would be excited to know that this is how their product is being represented on Amazon, and this is how thousands of people every month are interacting with this product on Amazon? Here are the 3 images that are virtually selling this product on Amazon. First of all, you have 9 images to sell a product on Amazon. And one of those can be a video, actually. So don't ask me why they're not using all 9, but they're not. And these are the 3 that they decided to use. Now, here's where it's going to get even more mind-boggling, AKA this is where you should get even more excited about these little hinges that are swinging big profit doors open. This is the website for this brand. It's beautiful. It's so well represented. It already has the material. It has great imagery. It has great videos. It has great content. It blows my mind how much money is being pissed away here. You might as well burn it, because at least then you'll be warm. Maybe you can cook something over it. But right now it's just being wasted. Now, here's one that should really get your profit senses tingling. This product on their website is recommended to be replaced every 14 days. Very easily, you could tap into a function and a feature which Amazon loves to have established brands use, which is called the subscribe and save function. So now when a shopper goes to Amazon, they can decide, I can buy this one at a time and hopefully remember to rebuy it when I need another one. Or they can just click a button and Amazon will automatically bill them once per month or whatever and ship them the product out. So Amazon's making more money, the customer's getting a better experience and they're being better served, and the reseller who's selling it with subscribe and save is now having automatic sales go out. What's up? What's going on here, right? What about this? These bullet points are a disaster. HCPC A7033, size medium. Yeah, I think we know that because it was right there in the title. Brand ResMed. I think we know that because that's in 2 places, right in the title. And every listing shows the brand name, right? Included in box. Single cushion. maybe included in the box, or single cushion. Maybe that's all you should put in there, if at all. No other parts of the mass are included. That's good to know, I guess, right? What a waste, which is crazy, because all you would need to do is go to the website. And there you go. Everything you could want. Now, if you look at this on mobile, which, by the way, they just changed the interface a couple days ago on for most users. So massive opportunity here, okay? You search for this product, like straight up search for the exact title of this product, and you see a competitor's ad above the listing itself. So Snugs, whatever Snugs nasal mask liners are showing up ahead of the brand itself. Now, here's a little tip that everybody should know, but nobody seems to know, is that you should always run really, really cheap. I'm talking 1 or 2 or 3 cent clicks on a product with the brand name. Okay. Now, Amazon will tell you, oh, you can't advertise on somebody else's brand name. Oh, yeah? Look it. Don't you see that in front of you? It happens all the time. What should and shouldn't be allowed and what is and isn't allowed in the real world, 2 separate things. So the first reason you should advertise, and it doesn't cost you anything practically on your brand name, is to stop other people from encroaching upon the brand's territory. Second, though, it'll just make you more money. You could be right or you could be rich. I'll choose rich. Because, see, consumers, they don't know the difference necessarily between an ad and a regular listing. And what's even cooler is when they see the ad and the listing, 1, 2, this is like social proof. They're like, whoa, it must be really important because it's there twice. So it must be twice as good as everything else, meaning you will make more money. Now, you can have the brand owner give you a budget. You don't have to pay for these ads yourself if you want to. Or you might just want to say, screw it, I don't want to complicate it. I'll throw a few bucks at it because everybody's going to make more money, right? That's the opportunities we're talking about here. But here's the biggest issue with this product right now. Every size is a separate listing. So you have the large, it's its own listing. You have the small, which is its own listing. And you have the medium, if it's its own listing. This is an actual violation of Amazon's terms of service. This could get this listing blocked because Amazon would instead want it to be one listing and have 3 size options. That's, by the way, in the brand's best interest, because now all of a sudden it will have 4,000 reviews almost, because you would add up all those reviews. It will increase conversion, but what we have happening here is 3 different resellers trying to go for self, trying to be greedy, not add value, but leech. So they're all listing their own. By the way, 1 count pack of 1, 1 count pack of 1. They could also have 2 packs since you're supposed to replace it every 14 days or whatever. I don't know. I guess everybody is allergic to money, but often what happens is everybody jumps over the $100 bills to pick up the pennies. That's what we have happening right now. Now, here's what's really interesting about this. Here's the opportunity. Brand owners aren't aware of this. They don't know this because they don't even think about it. Other sellers don't know or don't care. Amazon wishes everybody did know this because it makes a better user experience. Therefore, it makes Amazon even more valuable. And now you know this. Well, what are you going to do with it, right? See, this is why you deserve to get rich using this knowledge, because we have this win-win-win-win situation, what we call the quad win, a never before seen ever in the history 4-way win scenario. See, the brand owner wins because you better represent them and you make them more money. Amazon wins because the product becomes more easy to find and more customer friendly. The customer wins because they find products that otherwise they may never find, that they want to find and look for. And you win most of all because you helped everybody else win. Now, it's important you know this, because here is what's likely to happen when you approach a brand owner about being a reseller of their product on Amazon. They will not be very open to it. Here's why. Most brands have had bad experience with resellers selling their products on Amazon. So immediately they're like, oh no, not one of these guys again. Right? And that's because most resellers are leeches. They don't add any real value. In fact, they cause more trouble and headaches than what they're worth. All right. Now, 10% of brands, they don't care. They'll say yes to anybody who approaches them. So this could be a numbers game if you want to brute force it, and maybe you have to. I don't care, right? Maybe that's the way to go, okay? But most of the time, brands are not going to be very excited to say, sure, start reselling my product. Here you go. Here, I'll help you get started, right? So when you approach a brand to resell their product on Amazon in quad win fashion, I just want you to know how it's going to play out a lot of the time. Oftentimes, here's what's going to happen. I'd first recommend you contact a brand via email. with a simple and direct approach. Goes like this. So write this down, okay? You send an email that says, hey, I'd like to open up a wholesale account with you. Can you tell me how to do that? Sometimes they'll just say, here's how you do that. Let's go. But oftentimes, here is your response that you're going to encounter. You're going to say, do you plan on selling it on Amazon? See what I mean? So my question to you is, how are you going to deal with that? How should you reply to that? Here is the reply that I recommend you try on for size, something like this. You say, thanks for your response. Interesting question. May I ask, what problems have you had on Amazon? It's called active listening. Do a little bit of this. It can go a long way. Now, I didn't come up with this approach. I didn't test this approach. I didn't uncover this approach. I didn't put it in front of thousands of brands to see if it was actually a good approach or not. These guys did, okay? Not directly, though. Because when they started, there was no approach that had been found out. There was no trail. There was no road, right? Dan and Dylan, that's the two gentlemen you see here. They started their wholesale business, which I may add was started on a $600 credit card to get going. And they used that to get reseller status. So they bought in bulk a product to resell on Amazon, and they turned that into $500,000 in sales in 6 months. And Dan and Dylan did not have the benefit of experience, but they did have the benefit of stubbornness. And stubbornness can get you a long ways in this business. They played it like a numbers game, and the numbers were in. 93% of the time, when they were approached by a brand owner, they were turned down. So that meant that if they wanted to sell 7 products on Amazon that would each make $1,000 a month, they would have to contact 100 brand owners. Now, 3 a day, this could be done in a month, whatever, right? That's the caveman approach. That's the, I have no understanding, I have no technique, I haven't battle tested anything, I haven't tried out this technique versus that technique. That's caveman, brute force, bang your head against the wall till it falls over with. Okay? Now, once you have $500 million plus in customer success stories, you can crowdsource the best approach, which is what I just gave you. I gave you the crowdsourced best approach to contact brand owners to get reseller status with them and to place your first order of their product that's already successfully selling on Amazon. Once you have the crowdsourced best practices, it should not be personal to you anymore, whether somebody says yes or not. It's basically like a video game. If brand owner says this, then I respond with this. So all the things that a brand owner can say, they've already been figured out. And all the best answers to those things have already been field tested, and they've already been figured out as well. The only thing we haven't figured out yet is how to magically transfer confidence into somebody who's too scared to pick up the phone and talk to a brand owner. Because at some point in time, it's going to be way easier for you to get off an email and get into a telephone conversation to close the deal with a brand owner. Now, you don't have to do this, okay? We've seen international customers who English was not their first language work this process only through email, because they couldn't form 2 coherent English sentences back to back. I've seen that, right? It just means you're going to have to work a lot harder. 2, 3, 4, 5 times as hard, okay? Now, if I lost my voice, if I wasn't allowed to talk to a brand owner in person or on the phone, I'd still do this, and I would out-earn almost every other Amazon seller. But much easier is to start with an email conversation, to open it up, and finish it on the phone. That's the fastest way to succeed on Amazon with this wholesale approach and this wholesale model. So step 1, you figure out exactly how much that product can make you if you become a reseller. Step number 2, you contact the brand owner of that product to try to become a reseller. That's it. Can you do that for me? Especially if we armed you with the best training, the best tools, and the most encouragement, backing you possible, and supported you at every step of the process. Could you see yourself doing that for me? And here's the thing. Even if you've never heard of Amazon before today, I'm confident that I can take you and show you some simple tricks that would already put you miles ahead of every other Amazon seller really out there, which therefore would make you super valuable to hundreds of thousands of brands that are already established and already successful on Amazon. And yeah, it's weird. I know it's weird to think that you could become an overnight expert, but Amazon's the land of the blind. And even if you have one bad eye and it's farsighted, it's nearsighted, it has cataracts in it, it's oozing pus, right? You could still rule the marketplace. Now, I know this. Amazon knows this. And that's why they reward the sellers who do things on Amazon that Amazon wants them to do, but that every other seller just ignores. Because see, Amazon is not just another store. That's how brands and sellers treat it. But Amazon is not another store where they can put product on shelf and sit back and, wait for everybody else to do the work. See, in Amazon, a customer can't pick a product up. They can't touch a product. They can't look at it from multiple angles. They can't go up to somebody that works at the store and ask them questions about that product. Does it come in this size? Does it come in this color? And does it come in this option, right? How they even find products on Amazon is different than how they find them in the store. But everybody treats it like it's just another store. Now, my private label sellers, they knew better because we made sure they knew better. And because they had no other option. Since they didn't have brand recognition, since they didn't have reviews to start it off, since they didn't have presence, since they didn't have sales on Amazon. And we still won because we made up for that by understanding better superior keyword strategies, by understanding better image positioning strategies, by being better mobile friendly with our listings and having better conversion techniques for the listings to show customers the things they needed to know in order to buy. But most of all, we tried to do this by finding these one-of-a-kind products, the needles in the haystack that everybody wanted to buy, but that nobody was selling. Well, those products, they become less needles and there's more haystacks than ever, right? It's changed. The writing is on the wall. Amazon doesn't really want that in their business because Amazon consistently has shown us that they don't want that because every year they've made policy changes that have hurt every other type of seller on Amazon except those that do this wholesale model. Like things like brand registry came along, which were supposed to be good to protect your brand, but it only worked if you had an established brand. And Amazon started saying, you can't sell in these categories unless you're already established. Well, that's great for established brands, not so good for people starting out, right? And Amazon started doing stupid stuff with the search results. So they started adding like editorial recommended and all of this other nonsense, which favors, again, established existing brands, but it makes it harder for new brands to get a foothold, which was tough for me because I staked my whole life on this private label approach. Instead of contacting brand owners and becoming a reseller, we're like, damn it, we're going to build it all from scratch and we're going to do this. And this is the way we serve customers. And we did very well with that approach, but the writing's on the wall and I can either fight it or I can accept it. Now, let me be very clear to you. Private labeling is still a great model to do. And if you've done it well, keep it up. But if you haven't any Amazon experience yet, or if you're struggling with private label, or even if you're a successful private label, but want to dig another well before you're thirsty again, right? I'm telling you, reverse wholesaling is the approach in your business. Either add it or start here, where you scout products, you source them from brand owners, and then you become a reseller of them on Amazon. So if you want to make serious money, whether you do it online or offline, Amazon is the best way to do it. Now, doing this reverse wholesaling approach that I showed you here today, it's the best approach for Amazon to create multiple passive income streams, one product at a time. And right now is the best time for 3 reasons. Reason number 1, the coronavirus has recently added millions of brand new shoppers to Amazon, and it's doubled the profits that third-party sellers have been making this year. Reason number 2, Amazon Prime Day did not happen in June this year like it was supposed to. They've now pushed it back to mid-October. Just to give you an idea of how big Prime Day is for our third-party sellers, Prime Day last year did $7.16 billion in sales. Look at how it's almost doubled every single year since it started in 2015. Don't you think it's going to do that again this year? And shouldn't you be on there? And wholesaling can allow you to get on there in time to get ready to help a brand owner better tap into a Prime Day sales extravaganza. Reason number 3. I don't know if you just saw this. I think it was published yesterday. Home Depot cancels Black Friday. Black Friday in 2020 is going to be the biggest Black Friday event ever, but it's mainly because shoppers are forced to do their holiday shopping online. That's why offline companies are canceling it. I can't even begin to fathom how big it'll be, but it would break my heart if you stood on the outside looking in on people selling on Amazon, making stupid amounts of money in so quick of times, right? The point is this: more people than ever are shopping online right now, and a ton of buyers are just fresh new with an Amazon account. All these late adopters to online shopping have been forced to adopt. And now there is a gigantic new amount of buyers you can tap into, and you can tap into it ASAP. Because you don't have to start with a product from scratch with zero demand. This wholesaling approach, it is the quickest, it's the most agile, meaning you can source any product for any type of market, regardless of what's happening in the world. You could tap into what makes sense right now. Your business can get started real quickly and can be bringing you in passive streams of income. The future of Amazon is clear. It's selling wholesale products in the fashion that I showed you on this webinar, where you scout out products based on passive income stream potential, meaning how much net profit in your pocket per month. You source these products from the brand owner direct, and then you sell them on Amazon. And you don't have to touch a single piece of the inventory. And yes, you can see the results of this very fast if you do it the right way. And I know more about the inner workings of Amazon when it comes to optimizing your products to increase the impact in sales. But I am not the top Amazon wholesale expert out there. I know who is, though. See, I have found them. And better still, because I have this position, this credibility, this clout, this command in the marketplace, I'm able to work out a deal to put their gigantic, best of class, amazing, successful wholesale formula into your hands. In short, I'm going to give you the best offer ever made for their approach, which they call the wholesale formula. So this is the exact approach that is responsible for the more than $500 million in their customer results. Here's the scoop. Dan and Dylan, they started their Amazon business with zero experience in the middle of a little southern town called Corbin, Kentucky, using a lousy credit card with a $600 limit. And that's what they used to order their first product as a reseller from a brand owner. Now, flash forward a few years, and their wholesale Amazon business has done over $10 million in sales in one account. And across the board, over the multiple brands they represent, $25 million plus. Better still, they only work a few hours a day at this once they got it up and once they got it running. That's because it's a formula. As a result, many folks have begged Dan and Dylan to teach them this formula, the wholesale formula, which Dan and Dylan do. They teach it, but only once per year. In fact, the wholesale formula is not currently available. And I know for a fact the next time they plan on opening it up on their website is February of 2021. See, this is because Dan and Dylan, they're not gurus. They don't make their living selling how-to. This is merely a side hustle for them. It's a really part-time type of gig that they do. So even though it's life-changing, for those fortunate enough to hear about it when the wholesale formula goes public and are able to invest in it, most of the time, most people, it doesn't even land on their radar because it's not even really marketed. This is just something they do on the side because they're like, we got this cool thing, people want it, let's put it together and let's help some people. Now, I've been aware of the wholesale formula for 4 years now. And every time it briefly opens, Dylan has hit me up and he's tried to get me to say, hey, Jason, promote it. Everybody respects your position in the Amazon community. Give it the old Fladlin seal of approval. But I've always resisted promoting it for 2 reasons. The first reason is I ignorantly thought that wholesaling meant that you go to industry trade shows and you hobnob with brand owners to become a reseller. You lick their boots, right? Because before Dylan and Dan, every wholesaler I knew or every reseller of a wholesale product did that. And I'm like, nah, no thank you. Second, I thought it was at odds with my claim to fame, which was teaching people how to private label their own products and selling them on Amazon. What I didn't know until now, though, was that all the advantages and all the trade secrets that we discovered and taught exclusively to our private label sellers could really level up the wholesale formula, like make it way better than it already is. So I called in favors, I twisted arms, and I did what I do best. I stockpiled up every possible resource, advantage, shortcut, and power up so I could help anyone that I could reach in this very limited time we have to make you what I think is the best offer ever created for the best opportunity to take advantage of Amazon at the best possible time. First, I will show you how to find products like these in minutes effortlessly and by the thousands. And then you will laugh at the problems that struggling Amazon sellers face because they can't even find one product to sell on Amazon while you're scoring winning product after winning product to your heart's content. And even better, you're going to learn how to automate this. So soon you will spend exactly 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds finding products to sell on Amazon that carry no risk and just reward. And that's not even the best part. See, here's where the wholesale formula just flat out destroys any other Amazon training. And that's when it comes to scoring these wholesale accounts. because the guesswork is eliminated. You're going to use strategies that have been time tested and perfected so brand owners will fall in love with you. And you'll be able to land these wholesale accounts in no time flat, and you will line your pockets with profits that go along with landing these accounts. Now, you could stop here, not even complete the rest of the Wholesale Formula program, just the first few modules, and you would be an unstoppable Amazon seller, calling your own shots, compounding your profits month in and month out. Yet if you wish to, you can move on to the final part of the Wholesale Formula, where you will discover once and for all how to remove the biggest limiter in your Amazon business, which is you. See, Dan and Dylan, they only work a few hours a week at most in their $25 million Amazon empire. And I didn't take their word for it, mind you. I verified it myself, personally. See, the Wholesale Formula, it's not a slick name. It's a way of life. This is a formula. And the best part about this formula is that anyone can be trained to follow it. Like these children here that Dan and Dylan actually taught as a public service in their local community. And these children aren't somehow blessed. They're not brilliant necessarily. They're not gifted or capable in ways that you aren't. And it's not a thing where you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Maybe it's this. Maybe, just maybe, it's what I believe to be true. And it's the following. I believe that you are created from the infinite. So within you is infinite potential for living the life that you want and that you deserve. Not the life you have to settle for. You want that. And I want that for you. And here's how we're going to do this together. See, when you sign up for the Wholesale Formula, I'm going to give you an even greater, bigger advantage to the Wholesale Formula that these customers didn't get when they produced over $500 million in sales. Is there a catch? Yeah, of course there's a catch. Now, before I reveal this catch, let me tell you why I think the Wholesale Formula produces more success stories at a more staggering rate than any other Amazon opportunity that I've ever seen. And that's because Dan and Dylan are just absolutely brilliant with how they lay this model out. I can tell they have spent hours upon hours to figure out exactly how to show you something that in minutes you can get the first time that you see it. See, they practice what they preach. Everything is formalized and nothing is left to chance or imagination. It's clear, it's simple, it's logical, it's visual, it's coaching, it's training, it's templates, it's resources, it's fresh, it's current, it's up to the minute. I even negotiated them doing live training just for you. And it has a private community of existing successful Wholesale Formula customers who pay it forward on the regular. Who, because someone once helped them when they started with the Wholesale Formula, they're now eager to help and assist you, no matter who you are or what experience that you have. So what's your investment to get started with the Wholesale Formula? Good question. Is it around what we charge for our Amazon Masterminds, which was $25,000 a year and it sold out each and every time we offered it? Or is it closer to our one-off Amazon Cabo retreat? So we went down to Cabo San Lucas and people paid $12,000 for a 3-day event just to attend it, to learn the Amazon secrets? Or is it more in line with our Amazon software that we would give to our existing sellers for the price of $10,000 per year? On one hand, it should be, because it's worth many times that. Yet, I have scored a white-hot deal for you that I don't think can or will ever be offered again. And it's this. The Wholesale Formula, you can get started today for just $9.97 when you go to quadwin.com. Then you can take care of the rest in 2 more installments spaced 30 days apart. Or if you prefer, you take care of it all at once for $24.97. Doesn't matter to me. It's up to you. I do not care which option you pick. Just that you pick one right now because the timing couldn't be better. But here's the catch. You have to sign up now because the time that this is offered will expire shortly. This is a special deal, and it can't be special if it's always available. So you have to go to quadwin.com to get it, and only at quadwin.com. You have to go to that page, that URL right now. Go there to get signed up. That's the only place that is allowed to offer you this deal. That is the Wholesale Formula. And know that you're protected when you sign up with a 30-day, no questions asked, money back guarantee, because how do you know how good something is on the outside looking in? Answer, you don't. You have to see it. So I want you to verify it yourself. And if it doesn't live up to the hype that I've built it up here today, then ask for your money back and you'll get it, as long as it's within 30 days of your investment today. Simple as that. So go to quadwin.com to sign up And when you do, you're going to get what I call the mother load. What's the mother load? This is my special set of free bonuses that I've obsessed over and that we've either created with our own blood, sweat, and tears, or we paid for out of our pocket to give to you for free when you sign up. But only if you sign up at quadwin.com and only if you sign up before this offer expires. So what are these bonuses that make up the Amazon mother load? Here's the first one. The easiest way to close brand deals is to look like you're a pro. And the easiest way to look like you're a professional is to have a killer looking professional website. But building a website the right way is expensive. There's no easy way around it. In fact, in the Wholesale Formula itself, you will see that they recommend a third-party website builder that they had to train specifically to understand their customers. And the starting price is over $1,000 to use that resource. Okay? But we're just going to do it for you. We're going to create a gorgeous website that not only looks great, but it says the right things that brands will say, oh, this person gets it. Oh, I want to do a deal with them, right? So we have this little free app that can build up a website for you just like that. So you can hit the ground running. This is easily worth over $1,000 in and of itself. It is yours for free. There are no costs associated with this. This is a free bonus when you sign up for the Wholesale Formula, but only if you do it at quadwin.com. Bonus number 2, the Managed by Stats software. I think this is the single greatest software that any Amazon seller could ever use. Every Amazon seller should be using it, but unfortunately, most Amazon sellers have never even heard of it. Now, there is no free version of this software that you can get. And so if most sellers, if they're smart, they would pay $719.64 per year to use Managed by Stats. But I have something that nobody else has. See, I helped the founder and creator of Managed by Stats, a wonderful man named Philip Jepson. I helped him get started with Amazon back in 2013. See, before he ever created Managed by Stats, here was his story. He was near foreclosure on his home. He had his back against the wall. Him and his wife, who are just the sweetest couple you could ever meet in your life, right? Even though their financial outlook was grim, they didn't use it as an excuse. He signed up through me to get started selling on Amazon, and he hit the ground running in short order. He freaking crushed it as an Amazon seller. When he became a successful Amazon seller, he noticed that there was information that Amazon provides, but they do it in such a way that you couldn't figure it out. It's broken, basically. Okay? He was like, God, Amazon has the capacity to give us these insights, but they don't. So he built his own system called Managed by Stats. And since I've been there at the beginning when Philip started, I get to make a deal for you with him that's unavailable anywhere else to anyone else. Here's the deal. You get lifetime free access to a secret level of Managed by Stats that I've negotiated for you. Only, though, if you go to quadwin.com and sign up. And what can you do with Managed by Stats? Well, you can instantly see how much profit you're making on Amazon at a glance. See, unlike Amazon's own reporting, you need 5 decoder rings to figure out how it makes sense of. Now you can just glance at it. So you know where your profit potentials are. Here's what my favorite thing is for wholesaling is you can manage multiple brands from one convenient location. This is a wholesaler's dream, and it's impossible to do it any other way. So you'd have to log in and log out of this account, log in and log into that account. It's a nightmare, right? And now you can easily show brand owners exactly how much value you provide, so that they give you better deals on their products and pretty soon offer you exclusivities. So they can say, you're the only authorized reseller. And all of a sudden that pie that you were cutting up and sharing with others, you get the whole pie. All this and so much more. You get a special lifetime free access to start using Managed by Stats when you sign up at quadwin.com. But when it comes time for you to upgrade Managed by Stats, because it will, it's because you're making so much freaking money that the upgrade will unlock for you even more money. And that's what I've designed for you here with Managed by Stats. That's your second bonus that you get for free, but only if you sign up in time at quadwin.com. Bonus number 3, Seller Mail. This is another fabulous tool designed by Philip Jepson that I have exclusivity on giving you free lifetime usage. So here's what you're going to love about Seller Mail. It is the most effective way to get honest, legitimate high quality 5-star reviews on any product that you want to sell on Amazon. So with Seller Mail, when someone buys a product from you on Amazon, it automatically triggers a sequence of follow-ups to be sent to that buyer. And best of all, you don't have to figure out what to say in these follow-ups. Seller Mail comes fully loaded with everything imaginable from a template that you would need to click and point to do, from this to that, to this to that, on how to get reviews. It's all been figured out. And now you can automate getting better reviews for the brand owner, lickety-split, just like that. Brand owners are going to love you for this, and you're going to make more sales, because the better reviews a product has, the more people want to buy it. Now, the only place that you can get this deal of Seller Mail for free is at quadwin.com when you sign up today. Bonus number 4, listing level up. This is my latest training that I have done on how to absolutely optimize any Amazon listing, with all the secrets that I know that can instantly improve its conversion rate. So that way, everybody that goes to the product and sees it, more people end up buying it. So from the titles to the images to the bullet points to the product descriptions and so much more. See, I'm one of the highest paid conversion experts on the planet. The platform we're using here today to do this live webinar, Zoom themselves, a nearly $100 billion company, brought me in to train their user base on conversion methods. And you get my expertise applied to Amazon, which we have pulled in insane results with for free. And this training is exclusively reserved to those who sign up for the Wholesale Formula at quadwin.com. That's the only place you can view this training that we did. We did specifically for Wholesale Formula customers. And I'm going to put to work for you the same insight that I gave sellers like Mattson, who used my level listing techniques, my level listing up to double their profits. And when they started, by the way, same position, they had their back against the wall financially. They barely can make a go at it. And last time I checked, they are all over the world, just completely crushing it. That's bonus number 4. Bonus number 5, keyword radar. So this is another exclusive only for Wholesale Formula peeps that sign up at quadwin.com. This is a training that I did showing you 100% free tools on how to find the keywords that everyone else misses. Here's the problem. If you rely on paid tools, not only do you have to pay for the tools, but you're going to get the same result that everybody gets who uses those tools. Instead, I'm going to show you a very practical way to find the things everybody else misses. And by the way, the easiest way to double the sales of a product overnight is to find unobvious keywords and put them in the listing. And I'm going to show you where to put them in your listing as well. Super duper easy, yet super duper effective. I'll show you where to find them, how to place them. It's the easiest money you'll ever make. So a single keyword that I'll find can make $10,000 extra in sales per year. Now think about that. If that keyword's 5 letters long and it makes you $10,000, you just got paid $2,000 per keystroke. That's how effective this is. That's bonus number 5. Only at quadwin.com can you get it. Bonus number 6. What we call brand bait, okay? This is a simple fill-in-the-blank template that I designed personally that you can use to create a quote-unquote, it looks so customized report to any brand for any product that you want to be a reseller of. So basically, you show them this report, and they will say, thank you. Thanks for coming into my life. Because it will be obvious and it will be undeniable to the brand owner how much value you're bringing to the table. I'm going to hand you over this template, and I'm going to hand you a very great video training of exactly how to point and click and use this template to make a customized report for any brand in minutes. And it flips every switch needed to get a brand dying to have you sell their product on Amazon. That's bonus number 6. Bonus number 7, Amazon sponsored ads are my favorite type of advertising to buy on the internet. First of all, it's easy. You don't create images for these ads. You don't write copy for these ads. You do nothing for these ads other than tell Amazon, I want my listing to potentially show up when somebody searches for this phrase. That's it. That's how you run Amazon ads. And they're only shown to buyers who Amazon already has shoppers coming into their stores. That's who you're advertising for. The problem with sponsored ads is because Amazon is a store and not an advertising agency, they don't know how to make sponsored ads easy to run. There are things that Amazon sponsored ads are set up to do that just don't make sense and will frustrate you to no end if you try to rely on their dashboard and their process in order to do it. So instead, we want to automate it with third-party software. So we want you to use pay-per-click Entourage. And our business partner in Amazon, Ben Cummings, he said it best right here. with a couple clicks of a button, it will optimize everything for you. Straight up. That's how pay-per-click Entourage works. Yeah, let me quote him on this, though. He says, pay-per-click Entourage is an Amazon seller software that analyzes all the sponsored ads data in a super visual way, and then with a couple clicks of a button, it will optimize everything for you. It will show you the solid gold. The bottom line is if you like making money, you need pay-per-click Entourage. Normally, you would have to pay for this, and it's worth paying for. Because pay-per-click Entourage is, without a shadow of a doubt, the strongest Amazon sponsored ads management platform on the planet. And with this bonus, you're going to be able to use all the features of pay-per-click Entourage for the first 5 products that you resell on Amazon, and you can use it for a full year. So this means that you can discover your most profitable and popular keywords to advertise and quickly optimize your listing for your ad campaigns to generate profits. Point, click, then it's done. Now this bonus, as well as every other bonus I've shown you, is only available to you when you sign up at quadwin.com. Just to buy all of these bonuses on their own would cost you more than the investment in Wholesale Formula, yet you get all of these for free when you sign up through us. Now, bonus number 8, this one was a happy accident, called margins. So when we hit up the guys that created pay-per-click Entourage, they let us know about a new tool that they had developed. So we said, hey, can we work a deal to get that thrown in as well for you? And of course, because I'm very good at making deals, they said yes. See, Amazon has a lot of these little fees that normally they charge us that they shouldn't charge us, but we just chalk it up as the cost of doing business. We're like, hey, we're super profitable anyway, and it's too tedious to go track down these profit leaks and fix them. But now you don't have to. Margins does it for you automatically. So here's the dirty little secret about Amazon, and that because it's so big, it often overcharges sellers without even being aware of it. Now, if you're not on top of everything, you'll never catch it. But margins will catch it for you. Now, here's what's really cool. Every time we have found Amazon overcharging us, as soon as we point it out to them, they're like, oh my God, here you go. Here's the money. They're super quick to give you the money as long as you catch that. But if you don't catch it, they don't give you the money, okay? So using margins automatically means more money in your profit pocket, simple as that. And the more a product sells, the more money you will recover that's right now being invisibly lost. And you can get this for free, like every other bonus, only if you go to quadwin.com. Now this bonus, this next bonus here, bonus 9, it makes me uncomfortable. Because what I'm going to offer you is something that I have sold and people have paid full retail for. A lot of them have. And I bet some of them are on this very webinar right now. So I am risk pissing off some of my best customers. And frankly, I'm uneasy about that. It doesn't feel very comfortable to it, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I think it just makes sense to do it right now with what's at stake. See, our flagship program on how to teach customers to sell on Amazon with private label products is called Search, Find, Buy. And if you go to the website, you can see it sells for $1,997. And this program was created in collection with Ben Cummings, who created every video with the help and my input on the outline of every little secret and technique to improve a seller's ability to sell on Amazon. Now, I consider Ben Cummings the single greatest Amazon tactician alive. Ben was the first seller I knew to score a #1 overall bestseller in a beauty in all of Amazon, meaning that for a day, there was no other beauty product on Amazon that sold better than his. And I have paid Ben hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years to train our Amazon sellers, and together, Ben and I have made millions of dollars leveraging Amazon. He is gifted at teaches, and I have he's gifting at teaching, I should say. I'm getting a little excited here. He's gifted at teaching. And I have hundreds of satisfied customers, such as Leah and such as Christopher here, who sing his praises on a daily, okay? Now, I'm not a fan of an either-or approach in life, and I'm not a fan of it on Amazon. A well-rounded Amazon business will beat a one-trick pony business any day of the week. So I think you should start with wholesaling and then add in your own products as your business grows, just like Josh Neblett did here, who was a kid, essentially, a 30-year-old kid who sold his company recently for $75 million. So I'm doing this. I'm offering you our full access to our course, Search, Find, Buy. When you sign up to the Wholesale Formula, you get Search, Find, Buy for free at quadwin.com. And besides hitting #1 all of beauty, Ben has also been the first seller I know to launch 3 brand new products and put them all in the top 100 of Amazon at the same exact time. And remember earlier when I said we had to learn every trick, tool, loophole, tactic, method to give us an advantage since we were starting with nothing? Well, all of those are laid bare for you in Search, Find, Buy, and they work wonders when you apply them to the Wholesale Formula. Now, keep in mind, the Wholesale Formula has a never, ending line of success stories, it feels like. And few, if any of them, had the secret knowledge you'll now have at your fingertips with Search, Find, Buy, what to speak of, all of the software and all the other advantages that you get for free as long as you sign up at quadwin.com before this offer expires. So sign up right now at quadwin.com to get all the bonuses, plus to get access to the Wholesale Formula. Just go to quadwin.com. You're going to see a countdown timer there that's going to inform you of the limited time that you have to sign up. By the way, the next time you'll ever even get a chance to sign up for this will not have a bonus stack like this, and it will be in February of 2021, which means it will be after the holiday season. It will be after the Prime Day Gold Rush, which is this big shift. So I need you in to go through the Wholesale Formula and get up and going so you can take advantage of Prime Day, which is happening mid-October of, like, when is it right now? It's not that long away, so we got to get going on this so that way we can get up, get running, and help brand owners make a whole bunch of money, and we can make a whole bunch of money too. So this is what you have, the best approach I see right now for Amazon at the best time to get started with the best resources and tools and training and software at quadwin.com. Now, Will, I have some specific things that I know people are still questioning and wondering about, such as, what's the investment beyond the Wholesale Formula? What is the time commitment? Can I do this if I'm international? So on and so forth. So I do have some things that I could talk about for that, but I figured since we have people here live with some questions, we should just go ahead and take some of those on right now before I move any forward in the presentation. Is that cool?
Yeah, actually, some of those questions you said you're going to address anyway are questions that are coming up frequently. So let's address the first one. What is the additional investment? What is the additional investment beyond the course?
Right. So let's be clear here. It's not buy this course and then there's nothing else you need. All right. But unlike a lot of other businesses, it's not like buy this course and then take out a small loan for the $15,000 worth of other stuff that I didn't tell you about, right? You will need at most about $2,000 aside from your investment in the Wholesale Formula to make this business go. And here's why you should love that. You should love that because a business that requires no upfront investment is going to be traffic jammed. And I live in LA, so I know a thing or two about traffic jams, right? And you could be in the nicest car in the world, but you're going to go as fast as the crappiest car next to you because you're jammed in traffic, right? But a lot of other Amazon businesses and approaches require you spend a significantly more amount of money up front. And if you were to invest in the stock market, for example, you got to put a lot of money in before you could ever hope to see money in return. If you want to buy real estate, you're probably going to have to put a lot of money down in order to make that happen. So I'm saying you got to have $2,000 on top of the investment, which is as little as $9.97 to get started here today at quadwin.com. But will you need other stuff besides that? No. I mean, you would if you didn't have this bonus package, because you would need other tools to give you an advantage. And you should have other things that complement the Wholesale Formula approach so you can have an edge. But the good news is, all of these things are yours for free as a bonus when you sign up at quadwin.com. Just to be very clear here, we make a commission when you sign up. This is why we do this. I've just figured out a way so I can align your interests with our interests, with the Wholesale Formula's interests, and with Amazon's interests as well. So talk about a quad win right there. It's just Will and I know that the easiest way that we can make money in our lives is to help a bunch of other people make money as well. And this is one of the reasons why we can offer things like Managed by Stats and Seller Mail for you for free, because we have one favor with the creator, because we helped them get started and they became ultra successful as well. This is one of the reasons why I can negotiate an exclusive deal with the Wholesale Formula to say, listen, you open up to the public at this time, but let me privately, at my choosing, allow the people I can reach to sign up because of my clout and my credibility. And because I'm picking and choosing, I'm picking right now because Prime Day is happening mid-October. And Black Friday, the big gold rush, is happening in November. And in fact, I'm not going to talk about what I actually know about Black Friday this year for Amazon, but let's just say this. They are doing things this year and starting earlier than after Turkey Day. And they've never done that before. And I have some of that I have intelligence on that I'm not permitted to say out loud anywhere. So you'll just have to be pleasantly surprised that what Amazon is doing for the holidays this year is going to dwarf anything they've ever done in their life. So that's the whole, how much do I have to have on hand to get started. You're going to have some, and I'm going to be very clear and upfront with you. And that's good if you have that. If you don't have that, I mean, well, Dan and Dylan did start with $600 of borrowed money.
It just takes longer. It just takes a little longer to achieve real numbers, right?
It does. And honestly, I like to have a cushion in there, right? I don't like tightrope act style businesses. There's a lot of businesses out there that you could do, or a lot of approaches you could take to make money online. As long as you are precisely putting exactly the right foot in the right location and nothing goes wrong, right? Then it'll work for you, okay? If you knew my life in the last 30 days, you very well might consider me one of the most unluckiest SOBs in recent history, because I have had 3 separate tragical things happen to me out of the blue unexpectedly with my family and with my loved ones, including yesterday was a very traumatic experience that I had because my dog, who is like, I love him so much, he became paralyzed all of a sudden when we were out for a walk. His back legs quit working. And so I had to take him in, get emergency surgery done on him. The doctor, veterinarian, called me at midnight last night. I couldn't sleep. I was up all night worrying, saying the surgery went well. Everything was done properly, but it was really scary for me. And I had to pay $12,000 for the surgery, right? If my finances were super tight, or if I could only make a business work, if I got a good night's sleep, or if nothing goes wrong in life, which always will go wrong eventually for you, I don't like those kind of approaches. So I like to tell you, you need $2,000 on hand, knowing full well that you could get started with less. So that way you're presently surprised. That way you have margin. That's why you have cushion. That's why when we run the formula and we teach you the formula, we say use 0.15, representing a 15% profit margin, right? Because I want you to have cushion. When you have an opportunity this good, you have a lot of leeway where you can do more stuff wrong than right and still get rich. That's why it's a one-of-a-kind opportunity, because most stuff is tightrope walking style opportunity where you need a bunch of time too. But isn't it ironic that the people that tend to need the money the most also have the least amount of time? You know, I was deeply reflecting on this, Will. I'm in a different mind state today. So I don't know, different stuff is coming out of me, right? But, you know, all of our kids are virtual in school this year. And we just hired somebody to help us with the children's schoolwork. And I was reflecting that if I wasn't in the position that I was in, I wouldn't be able to do that, therefore giving me less time to develop my own capabilities, give me less time to make money. So the people that need the most to hire people to have them help them, or to afford things that would give them an edge in life, they're the least capable of getting that. And that's what's really upsets me. I hate that that's the way that the world works, that injustice in the world. And so if this business allowed you to only have the capabilities of working, if you have 40 hours a week to put on it, or if you happen to have a gigantic gap in your schedule of free time, like who has that, you know? This wouldn't work. And there's no way I could have the success stories, or even 1/100th of the success stories that I could show you with this. The fact that this doesn't require time is one of its greatest selling points. Now, it does require some time, all right? Just not as much time as anything else. In fact, I would strongly argue that a lot of people think passive income streams to make money online is like investing in the stock market. And that is a good approach. But the problem is every single person I know who wanted to trade in the stock market and not do a whole sit and forget, 30 years later, here's my portfolio, let me cash out kind of approach. They spend more time obsessing over the stock market than people I know who run businesses. Here's what I love about this business. You can't really do much to increase its power. That product's going to sell 17 units a day. You can do a couple quick fixes, like fix a hideous image, and maybe turn it to 20 or 30 units a day. But that's it. Just let that thing cash. Let it do its job. So what can you do? You can kick back. That's true. You can add another product, and all the products are front loaded. So you might have to sprint for a little bit, get a new product up and going, and that's how you add income. I don't want you to major in the minor things on Amazon. Major in the major things. Find a product that's already selling, that even if you don't improve it, you can tap into it and you can get your slice of the pie. There's so many out there that's not even funny. Then I want you to figure out, if you wish to, some of the easiest little hinges that will swing the big doors to make the pie bigger for everybody. you can do that, right? And then you get a couple of these, and pretty soon here's what happens. You get exclusivity deals. Brand owners will either offer them to you, or you could say, listen, we could even kick this up a notch if we became the only reseller of your product, if we had the whole pie. And that happens all the freaking time. Because, normally these other resellers are like a necessary evil. The brand owners are like, I'm not going to sell on Amazon. At least it's on Amazon. And yeah, they're a pain in the ass, but they make me some extra money, so I'll accept them. But then you come around as a breath of fresh air, and they're very open to the idea of exclusivity. And I talked to a couple Wholesale Formula customers recently who each of them signed a guaranteed $100,000 plus per year deal with these brands. That on top of whatever else they make, they were guaranteed $100,000 as part of their exclusivity. And that's the power of something like this. So you get going, you land a brand, one brand becomes two, you leverage that position to get more, and then you work exclusivity deals. And then if you wish to, add your own products in. And I highly recommend at some point in time, you have a mixed portfolio where you can put your own products in. Because it's really easy. If you're selling the shoe and you're selling a lot of it, sell the sock. Because people wear both shoes and socks mostly, right? If you're selling the salt, maybe add some pepper with it as well. Now you're selling pepper and salt. If you're selling the peanut butter, add some jam. Now you're selling peanut butter and jelly, right? But let's get you money first. Let's get you breathing room first. Let's get you in a position where regardless if there's another stimulus check or not, regardless of whether the economy turns upwards or downwards, right? We're not in a bear or bull market right now. We're in a kangaroo market. So no matter where the kangaroo is at, you're set. You can opt out of the game that everybody else is having to comply with by choice. And that's where we want you to start. In the Wholesale Formula, I am confident that for 100% of yourself, 100% of you who apply yourself, you could achieve that, right? Now, here's something interesting. We reach an international audience in a way that most other people don't. So the Wholesale Formula, prior to us, didn't have a whole lot of international people using it. We brought in a massive amount of outside influence from all over the world. And that's simply because we know that a lot of Amazon is like the rest of the world. It's globalized these days. So it doesn't really matter where you're at. Now, some of you are going to want to get cute on me, and I urge you not to. You're going to say, well, Jason, I'm going to go after brands in the .co.uk because I'm from the United Kingdom. Or I'm going to go after, whatever brand in some other location instead. And that is easy. You can get brand owners to do deals with you in international marketplaces on Amazon like that. But the problem is those pies are too small. Just start with where the formula tells you to start. Just start selling the Amazon.com products on the Amazon.com, right? And then you can add to the marketplaces in other countries later, and that can be part of your leverage to get exclusivities or to really level up a brand owner's presence worldwide, okay? But let's not get complicated. Let's learn how to crawl before we walk, and then let's learn how to walk before we run. But unlike other businesses, crawling means that you toil in obscurity and you eat ramen noodles for 2 years, and then maybe you're profitable. Crawling here is like you crawl for a day, you walk tomorrow, and then next week you're already skipping and jumping to the bank to pull your money out that you just got. That's quadwin.com potential, baby. Go there, get signed up, get all the bonuses, get the deal, get everything, get going right now. In fact, Emmerich is a great example of this. He was not even a U.S. citizen when he started with the Wholesale Formula. And he transitioned this model from working full-time as a graphic designer or a web designer, some sort of designer, right, into this business while getting his U.S. citizenship. And he has made a bunch of money. And then he actually sold one of his brands. Because this is an asset. You're not just building a money maker. You're building an asset. It's kind of like in the stock market, how you can get paid dividends and then you can sell the stock and still realize a gain that way, right? It's just that these dividends aren't nickels and dimes, right? They're thousands of dollars per month per product. So quadwin.com, let's go.
So Jason, I want to address some people who are still asking about the additional investment, right? And you've been very clear that you believe $2,000 is a sweet spot in addition to what they pay for the course, and that is for inventory and any other expenses that they may encounter potentially along the way, right?
It's just a
Maybe they
catch-all. Yep.
decide, maybe they decide they want a piece of software that does this or not, whether it's required or isn't. Maybe they decide they want this or that. Okay. Now, if you don't have $2,000, let me tell you that above and beyond the course costs, you should not be discouraged.
Right.
Because you can start with less. Let me be clear though, it will take a little longer to recognize real profits. But if all you have is that amount of money, what else can you possibly do that will eventually guarantee your financial success, right? If you don't have any other option, this is a pretty darn good option. It's the option that, selling on Amazon is the option that I've basically made my own family members do. My mom, my sister, my wife, right? And loved friends, right? Who I've coerced into doing Amazon and who are very happy about it, right? About being coerced, practically coerced, right? If you have $500, $600, $700, it will take you a little longer.
Yep.
That's it. You shouldn't give up though, because it's still a great investment, right? We like to be.
Here's a good way to look at it. Like, the money is replenishable, but this opportunity is gone. It's not replenishable. It won't come along again. So, it reminds me of Raul, who signed up for an Amazon training that we did. And then he knew he didn't have the money to order the inventory. So what did he do? He worked for 2 months at his day job, saved up the money. But because he had the course and the resources, having the money was less important. He knew he could earn the money. And it was really easy for him to save up that money. In fact, you know the story, right? Well, Christmas hit, and he had to decide, do I buy presents for my children or do I buy inventory? And thank God he made the right decision. He bought Christmas presents for his children, which, by the way, is always the answer, okay? So then he could have started in December when he saved his money up, but he had to wait till January. So he signed up in October for an offer we had made and had to wait till January to take advantage of it. But when he had the money, the opportunity was gone. But because he'd signed up, he still had access to it. But if you can replenish your money, but this opportunity is gone for the rest of the year. This opportunity will never be seen again until February. And by then, the holidays are over. That opportunity is gone as well. So yes, it would suck to have to buy a course, consume it, understand it, knowing full well that maybe you can't order that first amount of inventory, or maybe you have to be you got to go a little farther to find that sweetheart deal where you can get started with nothing practically, right? Because you will have to work a little harder that way. Is it still worth it? Hell yeah, it's still worth it. But I will tell you, that barrier of entry is one of the reasons why this deal is so good. Because a lot of people are going to opt out of something like the Wholesale Formula, and they're instead going to do other Amazon models like retail arbitrage, which, by the way, coronavirus made very, very hard. It was already a model, in my opinion, that was trending massively downward. But they're going to try to go to a Toys R Us, find baby wipes that they sell there for $30 that for whatever reason people on Amazon pay $40, and onesie twosies, they're going to buy them and list them, and they're going to make their money $10 at a time. You know what we call that? We call that a job. And most of you who have jobs or had jobs, well, how's your financial situation looking like? That's what a job does for you, right? I don't want a job. I want a passive stream of income. So typically the other ways that people try to make Amazon work where there is no money involved is that. And they all fight over crumbs. But it's better to be pound wise and penny foolish than it is to be penny wise and pound foolish. So the pounds are you invest in this course, and the pennies are whatever you got to do to save up and to scrimp up. Let me give you one other quick story, okay? It's another dog story, unrelated. But my daughter and I had to take her to the dentist the other day. So we're out. She went to the dentist. She got some new braces in, and we're coming home. So we stopped by because I got to get some dog food. So we would go in the store, and a customer who we helped start on Amazon just got their product placed in this store, this pet store, which has a chain across the country, right? And I pointed it out to her, and I said, "See that, hun? Your dad helped these people get started on Amazon." And I told her the story. I said they had to go to their father. So this was somebody who was over 50 years old, who had to go to their dad, right? And ask their dad to help them finance their Amazon business when they got started. And here they are all these years later. They are right there on the shelves next to some of the biggest brand names, probably making millions of dollars just from this one account that they landed, because one of these customers who also gets these products in retail stores happened to bought this product as a user on Amazon. That's where it started. So I'm like kind of bragging to my daughter, kind of like, your dad helped these people get started. And now look at him. She was not impressed. So unfortunately, it didn't have that effect. But it made me think of the power of the fact, because I knew I was going to be doing this presentation. It made me think of the power of how I'm not exactly encouraging you to go out there and borrow money. I don't necessarily feel comfortable saying that to strangers who I don't know your situation. But I do know that if I do my best to really help you understand what's at stake here, you may make a decision like this individual made, who, even though he was over 50 years old, he went to his dad and says, Dad, I want to make you a partner in this business, but I need some capital for you to get it started. And by the way, he made his dad a millionaire as a result of that. Interesting, huh? And so I'm not necessarily saying that you have to do that, but what I am saying is the funds to start the business are replenishable and they can be accrued. But this opportunity is not replenishable. It goes away and it doesn't come back. And that's like life. That's how life works. Opportunity comes, whether it knocks or whether it breaks in and screams in your face, which is what it's doing right now. You can respond to it, or you can plug your ears and close your eyes, right? I just don't want you to make a decision that you'll later regret. Now, I know if you make the decision to say yes, you really can't regret it, because there is the no questions asked money back guarantee. But not investing is way more easy to have a regret on. Especially if you're here right now and you can ask me a question, but you bite your tongue. Like, let's dispense with the niceties here, right? This is real serious stuff here. So let's go right to the heart of the matter. What's on your mind that would help you make a clearer decision? And by the way, I'm just as likely to not want you in the course if you're not the right person as I am to want you in the course, okay? I don't want to just take everybody's money here. I don't need to do that. I have the luxury of deciding that. I don't have to do this to make my bills. But I do this because I don't want to see people who I can reach, whose lives I can positively affect, get stuck and pass by. But if you're not the right person, if it doesn't make sense for you, if everything you hear me say based on the answers I say to your questions says, okay, this is not for me, I am 100% cool with that. I respect a person who makes a clear decision. That is a person who I feel is going to be successful in life. What really scares me, though, is the person who can't make a decision. That's scary. And so let's just figure out what the best decision is. And hopefully, I think, on most of you, it's going to be a yes. Let me be very clear. You wouldn't be here right now if something already didn't resonate with you. And certainly not here. What are we, 2 hours and 40 minutes in, or whatever the case may be, right? You certainly wouldn't still be here. So there's got to be something on your mind, all right? So go ahead and put that in if you can. We do read it. We do respond to this. And you'll find I'm very direct with my responses too, and I don't really mince words here. But yeah, investment, whether it's a big one or a small one, it's 2,000 top line beyond the investment in Wholesale Formula. There are clever and ingenious ways that you can adjust that, and you can play with that, or you can figure out other ways to work around it. But I just love to be very forthright with you that that's what I would like for you to play with. You don't need more than that. You can make it work less than that, but that is the sweet spot.
All right. So some people always wonder if this is live, right? So it is currently 3:41 p.m. Pacific, Los Angeles time on Thursday, September 10th. So how about that for a proof that it is live? Anyway. I always like answering.
I wish this was automated because, like I said, I didn't get any sleep last night. I was up worrying about my damn dog all night.
Oh man, that's crazy.
He's good, by the way, just so everybody knows. He is good.
Glad he's good. Good. So, how do you contact the brand owners, or do you work through wholesale distributors? The answer is you can work through either. The bottom line is you want to get the product, right?
Great question.
You want to get the product. And if a wholesale distributor, sometimes middleman makes sense, right? If they can accelerate the process of you getting the product, if you can get an account with them faster, whether you go to a wholesale distributor or a brand owner, it doesn't really matter. The point is you are going to understand using a super simple formula what your profitability is going to be. And if you can get better profitability, great, but you don't need to, right? Of course, great if you can. Always get as much profit as you possibly can. That's always awesome, but you don't have to worry about it too much, because we were very conservative on those numbers. Like 15% profit margin, that's really low. If you can make that, then I mean, it's really, really easy with any type of wholesale account to make that. Really easy. You're
really
probably going to be making more like 25 to 30, but we don't want to overstate the opportunity. We don't want to tell you you're going to be making all this, double this amount of money, because you may not. So we want to take the least common denominator, be conservative, and say, listen, if you can squeeze out 15%, that's good enough. And if you can do better than that by negotiating, great. Now, how you contact the brand owners, how do you get these wholesale accounts? That is an awesome question. It is all taught exactly how in the course.
Yeah.
And again,
it's redundant, by the way, Will. So first of all, they teach it in the course. Second of all, every one of you get access to their private Facebook community of real world successful sellers of the wholesale formula. So they will support you with that in there. Third, they're going to do 4 live webinars for people that sign up for the wholesale formula. I did not know this. I only found this out today because Will sent me over to quadwin.com to say, hey, look, can I fix this issue real quick in terms of how the font displayed, right? And I saw that. I said, well, I didn't know about this, right? So we'll tell them about these 4 live webinars.
Yeah, so they are basically going to be making sure that you understand the core concepts of the course. They're going to be answering questions. They're going to be showing you live examples because, people like to see examples, right? You showed 3 examples of 3 products on this webinar. They're going to show you other examples, and they're going to show you other things about the course that we won't talk about on this webinar, right? And they're going to be answering your questions.
Either. There's no selling going on. It's pure training. And it's originally what they did live, because they would launch the course every February and a whole bunch of people would get in all at once. So it made sense for them to do live. That's why I assumed we couldn't get live for something like this, because it's just us and some of our ambassadors that we have that help us with promotion. And lo and behold, they said yes. I think they understood the way when you and I get behind something, Will, we try to make an offer so good it would cost more to say no to it than to say yes to it. And so I think
it will cost folks here who don't take advantage of it. It will cost them more because here's something that I know about the folks on this call, right? I don't know I know some of you. I recognize the names. We've been working together for a long time. There are a lot of folks that have never heard of us. This is their first introduction to Rapid Crush, to you, Jason, to me, to our team, etc. This is their first introduction to this opportunity. But I know something about everybody here, especially the ones that have stuck around for almost 3 hours now. You want to pursue a business opportunity that will provide you additional income. If you didn't, then you may fall into that category that you've got nothing better to do today, so you're just hanging out for entertainment. I don't think that's you. I don't think that's anybody here. So you are already willing to invest in something, whether it's time or money, to build a business, to generate additional income. That being the case, if you don't do this, I guarantee you it'll cost you more to not do it, because you're going to pursue other opportunities or other Amazon training courses or whatever that aren't anywhere near as complete and as formulaic. That's a very important word, formulaic, as the wholesale formula. These guys have done a tremendous job. Now, what we did as affiliates is we created a bonus package that will enhance your ability to do even better once you get started. None of our stuff, none of our bonuses really play a role until you get started. Yep. And they got to get you started. Once they get you started, we add fuel to the fire. And that is the power that we bring to the table. But we didn't create the formula. And this is why we went to them and said, can we sell your course? Can we promote your course? Can we do it before February? Because there are people that need additional income today. There are people that can take advantage of the upcoming Amazon Prime Day event and of Black Friday and of the end of the year Christmas holiday season, right? It is going to be the biggest year for online sales, period. Like, not even close. It'll dwarf every other year, because there are so many more people buying online, and because most people either cannot or do not want to go to stores to go shopping. And we all know why, right? We all know it's because of this pandemic that we're experiencing. So the opportunity for you to profit from this, from the end of the year shopping spree, is humongous. So it will cost you more if you don't do it. You can be a seller or you can be a shopper. You're going to be one of the two, right? Sellers shop as well, but you can be a seller or you can be a shopper.
Yeah, so you can either be only a shopper, or you can be a seller and a shopper. And in fact, you will be a better shopper the better you're a seller, because you can shop more, because you'll have more stuff that you can buy with the money you make selling.
Yeah, I had somebody that I know, Jason, asked me to talk very briefly about exit strategy. This is a perfect business opportunity for those of you that want to cash out, to build something to exit, and that means sell the business later. I apologize, there's a helicopter going overhead if you can hear it. So there are plenty of examples. Amric, how much did he sell his business for? No, let me take that back. He sold one contract.
Yeah.
He sold one wholesale contract, not even the whole business.
Right here.
For 406, almost $500,000.
It's a rock candy wholesale account, by the way.
It was a wholesale account, right?
Rock candy, though,
plenty... Hey, gotta have rock candy, right?
I guess, right? I mean,
I guess. I don't know. I'm worried about my teeth, but
you know what the point is? It's the product is almost inconsequential. People will buy what people will buy, whether they're chainsaw chaps, which, by the way, I've never used a chainsaw in my life, so I didn't know there was this pent-up demand to buy chainsaw chaps. I still don't even really know what they are. Do they stop you from like cutting your leg off or something? Hell, I don't know, right? But they sell ridiculous amounts of that one product on Amazon, just in and of itself. So Amiric was able to tap into a brand owner whose product was rock candy. This rock candy was already selling well on Amazon. Amiric was able to become a reseller of it, made some really, really basic improvements to their accounts or to their listing on Amazon, got a deal with them to be their exclusive reseller, and then he sold the rights to that exclusivity to somebody else for $406,210.15. You put that all in a wheelbarrow and it'll overflow. I mean, if we actually cashed it out in hundreds of dollars of bills, it'd be pretty cool. That's the power of something like this. These are assets. So again.
So Jason, sorry about that. There's a delay. I thought you were done explaining. So, but I'm going to cut you off anyway, because we're running way over time, and we're gonna set a 60-second limit on any answer that we give, because I know you like to over-explain things, which is great, right? Which is why there's so much power. I know it's so exciting. I know we do because anyway. Here I go on a long story, so I'll cancel that. Here, I would like to first of all say thank you. And if you're here and you hadn't heard of us before, you should reach out to the person that invited you here and tell them thank you for bringing this opportunity to your attention, because they brought you here because they care about you. You know, Jody brought Sarah, Nishina, Michelle Mayer, and Paula Harvey, and I believe they're still here on this webinar. And Jody said, go ahead and reach out to her if you have any additional questions, because Jody is intimately familiar with this program. She's intimately familiar with Rapid Crush, Jason and myself. And so she's totally willing to talk to you and make sure that all your questions are answered. So reach out to those folks that invited you here.
Yeah, if you were invited by somebody, especially if you have a personal connection with them, you feel free to use them as a resource, because you don't know who we are. And we're in an industry, by the way, where I would not trust anybody barely at all to even like give me proper change at the store without them pocketing $1 or $5 of their own, right? This is a very shady industry where there's a lot of snake oil salesmen, and there's very few people who even know what a snake is, you know? So if you don't know who we are, it's easy to lump us in with some of the other unsavory types of characters, but we have a track record and we have a reputation and we have a position in this marketplace that is unmatchable. For example, we have the best support in the industry, statistically speaking, right? Now, maybe puffery-wise, somebody has better support than us. Maybe they can talk about how their support is better, but factually speaking, based on numbers and response times and all those kind of important metrics, we have the best support in the industry. We also have absolute track record of customer successes on Amazon that is unmatched. The funny thing about Amazon is when shovel sellers discovered that people like to buy Amazon trainings, all of a sudden there was a bunch of overnight Amazon experts. It was amazing how that was coincidentally happening. So it's hard to know who can talk a good game and who lives a good game. But a lot of the success stories we have in Amazon have dated back to 2013. But unlike a lot of people who do these trainings, we change with the times. What you're going to discover in this business is, here's the typical cycle. Somebody will discover something that's cool. They'll make a little bit of money with it. Then they'll make more money selling other people on how to use it. And then what they'll discover is what they learned no longer works, but they don't want to stop selling it because it still would make them money, so they continue to sell it. And so we've had to change our approach on Amazon. The reason why we picked Wholesale Formula is because we knew this is a profit potential on Amazon in October. What's the best approach? We didn't just say, let's hope our approach is the best, right? We made sure to find the best one. And because we have assets and resources that we can pair with the best approach, right? So we have the best wines to pair with the meals, so to speak, right? That's what we have here, quadwin.com. But yeah, if anybody referred you, feel free to reach out to them and have them speak from their own experience and see what they say about us. And you're going to find that it's very clear. Yes, Jason Fladlin hard sells. That is a guarantee. I will sell you something if I believe it is in your best interest. I will not be timid. You can't be timid about having your kids eat their vegetables. You got to enforce that, right? Whether they like it or not sometimes, right? So I'm not going to be timid if I know that what I have could be the thing that does everything for you. I would rather risk offending you as opposed to risk not helping you because I was too shy and too timid, right? But it is what it is. But beyond that, what we deliver, do we deliver it? We absolutely deliver it. Do we stand behind everything? Do we? Will we make sure that you can reach us if you need us? Yes. We'll be happy to help you. If you get your money back by asking, can you really actually do that? Yes, you actually can, right? All of those things will be validated for you. But one way or another, the clock is ticking. There is no doubt about it. Just like everything. You have a time in which you can act on it, and then that time passes. The time is now to act. Quadwin.com. Let's get you signed up, okay?
All right, so some payment clarifications. The three installment option is only available via credit card. So if you're having a PayPal issue, it's because the PayPal option is only available when you pay in full. Payment plans are only available on credit cards. Okay. Let's see. Let me do this. If you have a question still pending that we haven't answered, go ahead and re-ask in the chat box because there's so many comments and questions. It's really hard. There are still over 300 people here with us, almost 3 hours into the webinar. So it's really, really hard to catch all of the questions.
Yeah, here's one that I know is on people's minds, Will, is how soon till you see profit? And the answer is, the reason I put a September 30th date on the webinar registration page is because that will give you enough time to go through the wholesale formula, understand it, and be in a position to start getting brand owners to work deals so you can see profit before Prime Day hits in mid-October. Now, most of you can see profit much sooner than that. Really, the name of the game is this. The sooner you want to profit, the more brands you should contact. Simple, right? In the long term, it does not matter to me whether you make your money 6 days from now or 6 months from now, because once you make the money, you can repeat it. Now, I know you want to make it as soon as possible, most of you, but I know in the long term, it will not really affect your lifestyle one way or another. What will affect it is if you give up too soon, right? But you can make profits very quickly with this approach. In fact, it's quicker than any other approach that I've ever seen. But if you do it the way Dylan and Dan did, it will still work. They just did it where they went out there and played it like a numbers game. Knock on doors, so to speak, right? In this case, email. I don't like that approach because it's not needed when you have it already fine-tuned and validated through real-world crowdsourced results of successful customers where you can just follow that process and be a little bit more strategic about it. But even if you just were out there kind of just throwing rocks at everything, eventually you're going to hit a brand owner on the head and he's going to hand you over an account as a result of that. So you can see it as quickly as you want to. How quickly do you want it? You could probably make that work. Is it tomorrow? Okay, we can't make that work, right? 14 days from now? Sure. How hard do you want to go at it though, right? I think it's better to take a midterm approach. Can you do it in less than a month? Absolutely. Can you do it comfortably in less than a month? Just comfortably enough. But long term, whatever you do in the short term will compound over the long term, and that's where the real money is made. And here's another one too. Are you afraid brands will turn you down? Well, let me tell you, brands will turn you down. A majority of brands will say no to you. Oftentimes, no is just a knee-jerk reaction. So don't take it personal. They'll say no, and then you'll say, okay, well,
it's beautiful that they will say no.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you know that you will be told no. Because again, it is a numbers game. It is a formula. Well, you know. See, here's the problem with most training programs, business training programs I've ever seen, Jason. Here's a problem with it. They will tell you, go out and do this. And the person says, okay, I will do this, and I do this. And I do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and it doesn't work. What do I do as an average individual, normal individual? I quit. I say it doesn't work, right? But if you had tried 6, 12, maybe 20 times, it would have worked. But who wants to see failure after failure after failure after failure? At some point, we just say, hey, enough is enough, right? So we are telling you up front, you will have to contact 100 different wholesalers or you don't have to,
right? Most people hit success way earlier.
But I'm gonna say they have to because I
want you to believe that, right? I want you to believe that because it's better
that you'll get 99 no's before you get a yes. And so every time you get a no, you should say, yes, I got one more no. Yes, one more no. Yes, one more no, because every no is getting you closer to that yes. If we told you that it was easy and you can get 10 out of 10, your very first or second failure would be like, hey, this doesn't work. But I want you to have the expectations that you will contact 100 brand owners. And here's the beautiful part about that expectation. You won't be crushed when you get a first no and a second no and the 20th no and the 30th no and the 40th no, because I want you to expect it. Expect the no and just move on because the opportunities are going to be plentiful. You're not going to be in a situation where you're like, oh my God, I found this one needle in a haystack product. And now the brand owner said, no, how could I possibly survive and make this work? Oh my God, I can't do it, right? You're going to, before you even contact brand owners, you're going to have tens or hundreds of opportunities. You're just going to go next. Oh, I got one. Next. Oh, I got one more, right? So please expect that you're going to get a whole lot of no's.
And here's the thing. I'll predict the future for everybody on this webinar, Will. Some of you will get a yes the very first time you contact a brand. It happens. Not a lot, but it does happen. So some of you will be like, oh, cool, I hit the lottery. Well, congratulations, all right? Some of you will get a yes in the first 5 brands that you contact. And awesome, fantastic, right? Some of you, it will take 10 brands, and some of you, it will take 20 brands. I don't believe, as long as you follow the program, that any of you should get a no after 25 brands. But with that said, I love what Will is saying. Expect it to take 100. Here's why. First, it will discipline your disappointment. 90% of making money in this business is learning to discipline your disappointment. Now, everybody sells you courses where it's through rose-colored glasses. They don't want to tell you the reality. So you're playing a game against reality. And every time you do that, you lose, okay? By disciplining your disappointment, you'll just be able to say next. You'll be able to move on. You'll be able to move forward. You won't get stuck. That's exciting. That's great. What also will happen here is you'll feel good when you get one sooner, which you will. And then you'll be like, all right, now you're having this positive association to this business model. And I think associating these positive feelings is going to catapult your success even further and even faster, right? But the other cool thing here with this approach is brands don't actually turn you down. They turn down the concept of what a reseller represents on Amazon. And generally speaking, a reseller represents a leech. Now, are you a leech? If you are, then you should be turned down, okay? But please don't be a leech. We will show you so many methods, and the Wholesale Formula also shows their own as well, on how you can do simple things to be a value add to a brand. So take that ResMed, a CPAP face cushion, right? They are dangerously at risk of having all of their products blocked on Amazon because they have 3 separate listings for the same product. That is a straight up flagrant violation of Amazon. Amazon doesn't want that. Amazon wants 1 listing per product. And size is a variation of a product. It is not a separate listing, or color is a variation, not a separate listing, right? Now, Amazon's a big thing. So sometimes you can speed on the highway, and because there's no police, you don't get caught. You don't get a ticket, right? That doesn't mean you weren't speeding, though. And that's dangerous. So oftentimes, if you realize that I am out there to help the brands, it becomes easier to engage in conversations with them to where you can bring up obvious things that will be helpful to them. And then here's your options, okay? Here's 2 options. If somebody comes to you and says, whoa, your tires are bald, you should probably change them. Otherwise, your tires are probably going to pop, right? And then they say, listen, I'm sure you can change your own tire if you want to, or what the hell, I'm here right now with a jack. I'll just change it for you. They're probably going to let you change their tires, right? So you go to a brand owner and you point out, here is all the cracks in your pavement, right? Here is all the things that are going to make your empire tumble and crumble. Then they could do it on their own, which they never will, ever. Because they weren't already doing it anyway. Or they could say, well, gee, can you help me out? What would that look like? Yeah, let me sell your product. Okay, done. Simple as that. And that is who you are. They don't turn that down. And as long as you can communicate in a way that gets that through, you will get accepted by the brands that understand the value of that. And there's a lot of idiots out there. You want an idiot to turn you down. The worst thing is to get an idiot to say yes to you. But you will very quickly find the brands that get it. And part of getting it is realizing they don't want to screw around with Amazon. They want somebody who they can feel comfortable handing the keys to the car to instead. And that will be you. And by the way, they don't discriminate. What I mean by that is they don't say, well, gee, how long have you been selling on Amazon, right? They don't say, well, gee, prove it to me with your formal education in college, blah, 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 right? No. The retail business world is very, very much a meritocracy, meaning those that show up and look like they're valuable get rewarded. And those that don't, they don't get rewarded. All right? So you can.
All right, Jason, I'm gonna cut you off. Seconds. You're going more than 60
seconds.
All right, we're gonna answer questions fast and furious now. We're gonna go super fast. First of all, Fiona wants us to say to Nora Aguilar, who's here on this call, that Nora, you do not have to worry about being technically challenged, okay? My mom is one of the most technically challenged people Jason and I have met, okay? And if those of you who are on this call, please don't be offended if this is what you do. But I would ask my mom for a screenshot, and she would take her iPhone out and take a picture of her screen to show me something. And to this day, she still does this, right? I've taught her many times how to, and perhaps you haven't been taught how to do it differently, right? But I taught her many times how to go take a screenshot on the computer. So she can do it right on the computer with the keyboard, but she takes a picture, right? And she's technically challenged in many other ways. She had this laptop, Jason, that she couldn't log into for like a month when the pandemic hit. And obviously we were socially distancing, so I couldn't go to her house. And I said, Mom, try this password, try that. It's case sensitive, Mom. Hit the caps lock, make sure. Nope. 2 months later, I finally went to her house, And so, Mom, what do you think the password is? She said, it's this. I typed it in, and that's exactly what it was. But she was locked out of her laptop for 2 months, right?
Yeah.
So if my
but
mom
she was able to be successful on Amazon.
was able to be successful on Amazon and built and sold a business on Amazon.
Yep.
I believe anybody can do it. Okay. Yep. And I've seen people that are even more technically challenged than my mother.
That's one of the reasons, by the way, Amazon has become the most valuable entity on the internet, right? Because they got it. So Walmart had a 1 billion mile head start on Amazon, but yet lost the race. How's that possible? Because Walmart did not make it so easy that even Will's mom could do it, right? They didn't pass the Will's mom test. And that's why they failed.
No.
That's why everybody
we tried selling on Walmart.com, and it was so painful we gave up. It wasn't worth it. First of all, it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, and even eBay had a head start, and they lost. And Jet.com.
eBay is more hard to sell on. eBay is more difficult to sell on, right? It's harder to sell on. So anyway, do you have to stock inventory? No, you don't. You can literally send from brand owner or wholesale distributor, whichever you go with, directly to Amazon. Okay. Sometimes you may want to receive the inventory and drip feed it into Amazon in a specific way. It is completely up to you. You don't have
a point off of it if you do that. So if you're making $1 million, 1 point is $10,000. You may want to do that, right? Not worth it when you're starting out, you know?
So do you have to get products from the US or China or a specific place? We recommend that you look for wholesalers and brand owners in the US. It doesn't preclude you from talking to companies outside the US, but somebody pointed out here that it's international shipping these days is a little bit more complicated than it is. Yep. You don't have to go to China, which, by the way, is one of the beautiful things we love about this model. You can source right here in the US. There are now not every product opportunity you will find. There will be a brand or a wholesaler in the US. That's true. But here's the beauty. Again, you're not looking for a needle in a haystack. You're going to have a list so big if you follow the program that you can just say, this is from China. I don't want it. You can just pass it up. You can just pass it up.
Yeah.
Where before, if you found an opportunity, the model that we previously worked on, the private labeling, if you had to go to China, you had to go to China. There was no option. In fact, man, how many times did I go to China? I think 6 times physically in person, right? 6, 7, 8 times, I think it was total, right? Because we had no option. We took hundreds and hundreds of customers and to teach them to source in China because there was no other option. There's an option. You don't have to. If you live in the UK, if you live in Australia, if you live in Nigeria, if you live in Egypt, if you live in Saudi Arabia, if you live in Brazil, if you live in Spain, if you live in Argentina, it doesn't matter. You can contact a brand owner anywhere on the planet and you can have them shipped directly to Amazon.com. Can you do this model on other Amazon marketplaces? If you live in Germany and you want to sell on Amazon.de, right? Can you do that? Yes, totally. Because are there not companies that make products in your country? Yes, there are. Do they sell them on Amazon? Yes, they probably do, right? So yes, you can duplicate this model, but I will tell you, the most profitable marketplace is the U.S. marketplace. So you can do it here. You can do it anywhere else. Amazon has a site in that country, right? Marketplace in that country. It is up to you. We highly recommend you to the U.S. because you don't have to be here to do it. Hey, it is completely up to you. The important point here is that this concept of wholesale and retail is how the world has worked forever since there has been a commerce, since commerce has existed, which is since the beginning of time, right? Since any sort of commerce has existed, the exchange of something for something else, that's called commerce. In our case, it's exchange of money for a product. Retail and wholesale has always existed, right? So Patrick has been asking me, how do you make the numbers work if the brand owner only has a 45% margin and now I have to take 15 of that, so they're only going to make 25 or whatever the number was what he's saying.
It doesn't work
How is that possibly going to work? It doesn't work that way, Patrick.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Here's how this works, just so everybody's very clear.
If a manufacturer only has a 40% profit margin, they will go out of business because they won't have a channel to sell through.
It doesn't really matter. Here's how this works. They will tell you, I will sell you this many units at this price. And you either like the price or you don't like the price. You don't have to care what their profit margin is. You don't have to care about their cost of goods. You don't have to care about any of that stuff. They will give you a price sheet, essentially, or they'll give you a quote. If you order this much, it's this much per unit. And then you're like, okay, if I can buy it at this price and sell it at this price, is that worthwhile or not? That's all you have to be concerned about. And all you have to know is that for every brand out there whose wholesale price to you is not good, there's another brand who has one that's just perfectly fine. You can always look at a situation from what won't work, or you can always look at a situation from what will work. And what I do know is there are many brands, probably over 100,000, probably even closer to 500,000, who have products on Amazon that you could wholesale from them, make the profit margins I showed you on this training earlier, and as a result, create life-changing income. Are there brands out there that will ask far too much per unit? Yeah, there are. Of course there are, right?
Pass them up. Say, see ya.
Yeah, say, it's unfortunate that this brand owner is limiting their ability to sell their product. But that is a them problem. That is not a you problem, right? And you just pass them up. Again, we got to fall in love with the profit, not with the
So I think Patrick is still arguing on this, and that's okay, Patrick.
If this can argue all he wants, right? I can argue that the sky is pink, right?
I think the sky is orange today in Santa Clarita, isn't it?
Yeah, oh God, well, there's smoke, so I can't even see the sky anymore, right?
Yeah, Patrick, I think you're thinking of brand owners as like Amazon private label product sellers who get their product from a manufacturer. This is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about established big brands, okay? Yeah. Completely different ball game, Patrick. Completely different ball game.
And again,
so if this is what you're worried, if this is what you're worried about, then
it's a non-issue, right? So if I call and order a pizza and they say it's $10 and I think that's a good deal, I buy it. It doesn't matter if that pizza company, it cost them $11 to sell that pizza, right? They said they're going to sell it to me for $10. I'll take it. It's up to their brand owner to decide what price is acceptable for them to wholesale at, whether they make a big profit on it, a little profit on it, or even a loss leader. Did you know that Amazon for many years sold products where they lost money every single time they sold the product? They had a negative profit margin, yet they still allowed us to sell on their platform and pay us money, even though every time we sold on their platform, it cost them money, right? It is not my business what a brand owner decides to charge wholesale prices for. It's my business to decide whether it's acceptable for me or not, okay? And there's a reason why there's $500 million plus in the Customers Limited, which, by the way, is not the full sample size. It is a sample. It's not the full example of customers that the Wholesale Formula has. It's actually over $1 billion in success stories right now that the Wholesale Formula has created. So somewhere, somehow, some way, somebody's doing it correctly. And so we can question about the times when it couldn't work, or we can focus on the times where it has worked. And then we can say, how do we model that in our own life, right? And if you're unsure, prove it to yourself, Patrick, or anybody else. Try this out. Contact some brand owners, see what you get, and then put it to the test. Was I accurate in my portrayal of what you should expect, or was I not? If not, get your money back. You're out a little bit of time to contact some brand owners. But I will tell you, because I've seen the before, the during, and the after of this situation, it's just a matter of, will they sell it to me at this price if I buy this amount of units? If they do, and that price is satisfactory, I say yes. If that price is not satisfactory, I can either choose to negotiate, but let me let you on a secret. I hate negotiation. I just like to say yes or no, so I move on usually. If the price works, I say green light. If the price doesn't work, I say red light, and that's the end of it, you know? Now, if you want to make success more complicated, you surely have that capability of doing that. That is a choice that you can make. I'm asking you, though, not to make that choice. I'm asking you to make the choice of simplification.
Yeah. So we're getting a lot of questions about, like, how do I ship product in? How do I blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't, let me say this. Well, you have to ship product to Amazon, right? But the point is, all of this stuff, like the how this, how that, that's all taught in the course.
Correct.
So because there are so many other questions, and we do have to close this webinar pretty quick, let me just say that you will learn all the details, all the mechanics. I'll call that the mechanics from A to Z.
Yes.
I've never heard of Amazon. Like, let's say you've never heard of Amazon. If you showed up on this website and said, what's Amazon? It's like, is that like the forest or the river? What are you talking about, right? If you never heard of Amazon, all the way until like you're selling a whole lot of product on Amazon, making a lot of money, all of in between those two steps, you will learn in the course. So
I want to show something I
it,
think, Will, that can be very helpful right now. I want to show a picture. And so I'm going to have to bounce through some slides here, okay? So Dan and Dylan, as a service to their community, took on children and taught them this model, right? They went through, and with these children, you see this right here, right? They taught them the exact same model. Now, they're not marketers, not really. Dan and Dylan aren't. I know that they like to think they are. It's cute, right? But they're mostly, they got the process. They don't know how to sell the value of the wholesale formula like I do, in my opinion, right? So I would have done this with children just so I could get on a webinar and say, if a kid can do it, why can't you do it, right? That is not their desire. Their desire was purely altruistic to give back. Every single kid that they took through this program, there was less than 20 of them. We just did an interview on this recently with them. There was one kid in this thing that sold, don't quote me on the exact numbers, but when I heard them, I was gobsmacked. I was like, some kid in this program had sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of product within less than 6 months from them training them on how to do this process. This is why they have this letter. It says, we are grateful for your support shown through donating surgical masks to Baptist Health something, Corbin, yeah. Your generosity will positively impact the health of our patients and community as a whole. Businesses like yours are what make our small town so special. Again, thank you for your kindness and your support. So they were working with their local community. So they came up with this idea of creating this process so they can also raise funds for their local community by teaching children specifically how to do this model.
That's a great point, Jason.
And it works.
This is a great, by the way, this is a great business model for families to follow together. We've in the 15,000 plus Amazon sellers we've taught, many of them work with a spouse, with a child, with a grandchild, with a sibling, right? It is a great family type business that everybody can get involved in. Raul taught his kids how to do this. We talked about Raul a little bit. When he's the guy that didn't have money, had to wait until after Christmas to get money to buy inventory the first time. He taught his kids, set up Amazon accounts for his kids and taught them how to make their money rather than giving them an allowance. He taught them how to go buy product and sell product on Amazon. Super smart, right? So let me clarify the release of the course and what you get and when you get it and so on. First of all, you have a 30-day no questions asked money back guarantee. Okay, so for any reason or no reason whatsoever, if you wake up on the 29th day and you say, you know what, I just don't like the color of the members area. Like, it should be this color. It's blue and I wish it was green. Oh, heck, I want my money back. They put the wrong color there. You can do that, right? It can be any other crazy or non-crazy or real or unreal reason. You don't have to give a reason. You can just say, hey, give me my money back, right? Now, it has to happen within 30 days. If you come on the 31st day, you've been told you're going to accept an agreement when you buy it. We are telling you on this webinar, it's on the sales page, it's on the order form. It's like, it is very clear. So don't come on the 31st or 32nd day because you will absolutely be denied. And then you will be upset because you're not getting your money back. But it's your own fault because we told you 30 days, right? So here's what I would love for you to do today. And this is Jason's idea. I'm going to steal from him. Go sign up. And after you sign up, mark your calendar for 29 days from now. If you have an iPhone, tell Siri to remind you 29 days from now. Right? Yeah. Tell Google Assistant to remind you. Put it on your calendar. I don't care.
The listening device that Amazon has strategically placed into the homes of the wealthy.
However you want to be reminded. Remind yourself 29 days from now. Refund the wholesale formula because I know you won't if you actually go through the program. Now, what do you get? When you sign up today, you get modules 1 and 2 immediately, right? And then in about a week and a half, I could be mistaken, but about a week and a half or so, you're going to get module 3. And about 2 weeks after that, you're going to get module 4. The point is you're going to go through 4 modules, 4 of the 6 modules before the 30 days are up. Now, why is 4 modules important? Because 4 modules teach you the entire business process.
Yep.
4 modules teach you everything. Modules 4 and 5, you don't even have to do, by
and
the
6.
way. 5, I'm sorry, yeah. 5 and 6, you don't even have to do. You should, because those are about growing and scaling and doing other things that will make you even more money. So this whole thing that we've talked about today with you, it's all in modules 1 through 4. Yep. So if you think, well, I'm not going to get to see the whole course, how can I decide? You do. You're going to get to see the entire business model we told you about in modules 1 through 4. And yep. Besides, that is definitely enough for you to make a decision of whether this is for you or not. Now, Jason, I'm going to address the people, and I would like you to address them too. The people that are not sure. They're just not sure, because we have 3 types of people here on this call. First of all, there are a lot of people that already bought, by the way. I know this for a fact because I got a text message from our CFO. A lot of people are in. That's great. We have people that absolutely, this is no. They don't want to, this is not for them. They are completely against it. I don't know why they're still here. Maybe they like your Iowa accented voice, your lovely Iowa accented voice. Could be, right? But I respect immensely both of those people because they've made a decision, right?
Yeah.
There are those people, it's not that I don't respect you, but we got to get you to one side or the other because you're called the fence sitters, right? And Jason will talk about fence sitting in a little bit.
Yeah, I never recommend it.
Right?
Because,
you're not sure.
Yeah.
You're not sure if you're going to buy it or not. Tell me which camp you're on. Tell me the yes, no, or maybe. If you type that in the chat box for me, yes, no, or maybe. Yes, you're in or will definitely buy. No, you're definitely not in and definitely not buy. Or maybe you need to think about it a little bit.
My guess is it's mostly maybes, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, a whole lot of maybes. Yeah.
It always
so
is.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. And if you say you cannot, I'm gonna address you. I'm gonna have Jason address you next. If you are not sure, there is probably nothing we can do or say in the next 12, 24 hours, 7 days, 1 month that will give you enough information to help you make a good decision. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Because if I answer the 10 questions you have, you will probably come up with an 11th and a 12th and a 13th and so on and so on and so on. Because you are the type of individual who's very analytical and you want to make sure that everything lines up before you make this decision. And let's be honest here. It is a sizable decision.
Yeah.
We're not talking about $3, right? Yeah. We're not talking about $25. We're talking about $2,500, right? So it is a sizable decision. Let me tell you how to make a great decision. The way that you make a great decision is by having literally the whole system in your hands and seeing the entire system so that there are no other questions to be answered or questions that are unanswered in your mind because you will have seen the whole system. So how do you do that? You do that by signing up today and then marking your calendar for 29 days from now to say, make a decision on the Wholesale Formula. And that way, you don't have to take our word for it. You don't have to keep coming up with additional questions to ask. You go direct to the source. You see exactly what's in the course. You actually go through the program, do the work, experience it, because there's no better way to understand something than to experience it. And then you make a decision. And that is the best informed decision you can ever make in your entire life, is if actually you have the experience. Because you can wonder, I can tell you, Jason can tell you what it feels like to drive a Tesla and what it feels like to do full on acceleration, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. I can tell you about it, but you won't know it until you experience it, right? So I want you to experience the training. I want you to experience the business model, not just the training, because by the way, please, everybody who's here, when you get in the course, don't just watch videos, do the work, because it's not a whole lot of work. And if you do the work, you actually will get, you actually have the opportunity to be profitable. But if you just watch videos, Jason likes to say, we can guarantee that Amazon will never send you money if you don't sell anything on Amazon. That's guaranteed.
They don't send you checks for products that you don't have, right?
Yeah, that's an irrefutable fact, right, Jason?
Yeah.
Irrefutable fact. So if you're wondering if this is for you or not, you have an ironclad 30-day money-back guarantee. Come in on the 29th day and ask for a refund. But don't let the opportunity go by because you have questions. Yep. Right? Jason, give me literally the 60-second version of dime questions and $100 questions.
Yeah, so there's nickel and dime questions and there's $100 questions. So a nickel and dime question would be along the lines of, what color is it? Or does it come in this or does it come in that, right? It's like they're inconsequential to whether you should do something or not. So in this particular case, a $100 question would be, hey, Jason, listen, I want to make this work the quickest way possible because I need to make this money in this amount of time. What should my approach be? And could the wholesale formula do that? That's a $100 question. That's like, okay, that's awesome. Let's go. A nickel or dime question would essentially be like, do I need to get a reseller license? Because I heard something about that. And if I have one of those, I don't have to necessarily pay taxes on some things or other things. So like, it doesn't matter. Whether you understand that or not will not affect your ability to be successful with the wholesale formula. And so just be aware of the difference between a nickel and dime question and a $100 question, because sometimes we're taught to ask questions just to hear our questions being asked, when we really should be asking the questions that make the difference to help us make a decision. But the bigger issue here is making decisions are hard. They're very hard because we get so much pressure to make the quote unquote right decision. That's why there's maybes more than there are no's and yeses, because no is a decision and yes is a decision. Maybe is not a decision. It's the lack of a decision. And making a decision fearful, and scares a lot of people because they're afraid that once a decision is made, it is irreversible. It is final. And that they could make the wrong decision and meet with disaster and catastrophe, right? But it doesn't really work that way in the real world, okay? First of all, the decision isn't final. It is reversible. Will has spoken at great length about the refund policy in place for something like this, right? But additionally, decisions are malleable. Decisions are like clay. You start molding it this way, and then if you wish to, you can make adjustments to the mold and tweak this or change this or apply this or change, or adjust this over here or whatever, right? And that's the decision that you need to make today, in my opinion, is let me get in and let me see what it's about. Let me try it out. And I can always jump out of the pool. So I can go into the water. And then if I want to get out, I can get out. I don't have to stay in the water forever. Because if I learn I can't swim and I can't get out of the water, I die. But if you jump in this water and you learn you can't swim, we have lifeguards that will rescue you. And then you can choose to get out of the water if you want to. But right now, Will and I are like the 7 blind men who are each filling a different part of the elephant and trying to describe to you what an elephant is, right? We're doing our best, but we can't describe it to you like you could yourself going in on the inside and seeing for yourself. But I get it. In your mind, you're afraid that if I take a step forward, I can't take a step backward. I am telling you, you can take a step forward, back, sideways. You can do one of those little things where you tap your heels together and jump in the air. I don't know what those are called, but they're really fun. I recommend you do 1 or 2 before you go to bed tonight. It'll probably pick your spirits up a little bit, right? Sometimes, though, here's the real issue, Will, that we haven't addressed, is the fear of failure. Yeah, that might stop you. Maybe. I honestly think mostly it's the fear of success that stops most people.
And they don't even realize it.
And they don't even realize it because they're not willing to go that far and examine in the cold, hard light what's going on. Where is the resistance coming that I haven't signed up for yet? Where is the trepidation? What is holding me back? They just feel the fear and they shut down. They stop. They don't process any further. They get too overwhelmed with emotion. I get it. I've been there. I'm diagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder person. So I know what, there's fight, there's flight, and then there's freeze. And of those 3, nobody even talks about freeze, but that's the most common response when you become overwhelmed. It's not the fight or fly. It's the freeze. And that's what happens because you feel something and you lock up, right? But if you examine it further and say, why am I feeling this fear? What's really going on here? More often than not, because I've been doing this for quite a while now, more often it's the fear of success that holds people back, not the fear of failure, okay? What does that mean? It means a lot of stuff, but I'll tell you one thing that it means. It means that you have to step up and own your desire for money. A lot of people flirt with the idea of financial independence, but the moment you say, I am going to take that on, is the moment it becomes real. And that's a fear of success because you're like, I don't know what that's like. You have no reference point for it. You don't know what that's like because you haven't done it yet. You have nothing to compare it to, and that's scary, and that will always be scary. But how do you get that reference point? Well, you got to do the work. That's how you get that reference point. But that's the fear of success. So some people say, I'm scared it won't work. But I ask them, what happens if it did work? And that's when we really get to work. Because they're like, oh, I haven't thought about that. And then they start talking about crazy things like, well, these brand owners will expect this from me because I am now selling more product than other people. And they're afraid of that. And I get that because that feels like responsibility. And they have this association with responsibility that scares them, right? Or they say, gee, well, what happens if a brand owner and I get this count and then I run out of inventory and I can't get it back again? It happens. It'll happen, right? But that's the fear of success, is doing something right and then be worried that you can't do it again. That's what holds more people back. It's not that I can't do it. It's what if I can do it? How does that change me as a human being? Change at all? That freaks me out. I don't want to change. You're programmed to not want to change. You're programmed to cling and hold on to who you are, even if it means death and destruction. But those of us who figure out how to break through and obtain the finer things in life. And I'm not talking material objects. I'm talking peace of mind. I'm talking tranquility. I'm talking being in that state of mind where you're unflappable, right? Those of us, the rare few of us who break through to that, right? We learn to accept that while it will be uncomfortable to change, that not changing will be more traumatic for us in the long term, and we own it, and we step into it, and we become it, right? And that's the difference here. Now, who does that? Almost nobody. That's who does it. Almost nobody. Well, let's look at the masses. May I call them the mediocre masses? And I don't count you in them. The mediocre masses don't come to these things, right? The mediocre masses blame things like the government for their position, or they blame things like the weather for their position, right? Or they blame certain things like, I didn't get these opportunities that the next person got, right? Or they settle for the things. They assume that life wasn't meant to be lived that way by them, but for other people, right? Or they look at the things that have went wrong in their life, and that's what they tend to focus on. And they don't ask, well, what could go right, or what has already gone right? How do I get more of that, right? Now, you're not trained to do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to look at the bad things in life. It's called survival. You're supposed to be on the horizon scanning for threats to your very existence, right? You have been programmed to survive even at the expense of your own happiness. That is 50 years of evolution. And I'm asking you to take that on and fight against that current that's going to pull and hold you down so you can survive but not necessarily thrive. I feel there's a way that you can simultaneously increase your survival but optimize your thrival. That's my new word for you today. Never used that word before, Will. We're going to mark that one down, right? Thrival, right? Because you can like change and it will be worthwhile. But sometimes you got to hold on to something while you do it. If that's me, hold on for dear life. I'll get you there, right? If that's the Wholesale Formula community, you just grab on and hold, my friend. Sometimes that's where my biggest breakthroughs came in. I couldn't do it, but I recognized someone who could. And I held on for dear life. And that's how I got there, right? And then here's what always will happen. Let me predict your future. When it's all done, and several years later you look back on it, you will say, oh, it wasn't that bad. All of a sudden, in retrospect, you will feel like it wasn't even nothing. And what used to be nearly impossible to even think about will be as routine as breathing to you. And it will happen sooner than you think. Mark my words on that. It's amazing what can become comfortable and how quickly it can become comfortable, especially when it's valuable. It's value-based, which is what we do at the Wholesale Formula. We add value to brands. We add value to Amazon. We add value to the customer. That's why it's called Quad Win. We get our value by helping 3 other individuals get their value, or 3 other entities get their value. Even though that's pure holistic, positive value, it's still scary because it's new, but it's amazing how quickly that becomes comfortable and that becomes new. And then you look back and you say, how did I ever live that way, right? In my 20s, I went through a period of time where I sacrificed my own personal health just for my business. And now I look back and say, how did I ever live that way? How was I even comfortable in my own skin? Because I didn't take care of myself. But I did live that way. It's amazing what you can get comfortable with if you allow yourself to. But most people get comfortable with mediocrity. I'm asking you to get comfortable with being successful. I'm asking you to get comfortable with the new normal. All right? And I'm asking you to make an investment in yourself, which is the hardest and scariest thing in the world. You know what? People will buy $50,000 cars, and I've never seen a $50,000 car make somebody a millionaire before, right? But they won't even put $997 down on themselves, and you're the best investment you can ever make. Don't invest without. Invest within, okay? How's that for 60 seconds, Will?
60 seconds times, so however many.
You know what? Time is as malleable as anything. If our audience on the call understood the real relationship with time and how it's much more than seconds on a clock, I think we'd have a lot more people signing up right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to answer the hardest question, and it's the hardest question to answer because we do care.
Yeah.
And this comes from a place of maybe a little tough love. We have a couple of people here saying, I want in, but I don't have the money.
Yeah, great question. Yeah. Okay. So here's the challenge with me answering this question, and I will answer it, and I can answer it, right? The problem with this question, though, is 90% of the time it's not true. It's a lie. Okay. And I don't think you mean it as a lie when you say it. I don't even think you're necessarily aware that it's a lie when you say it. And we could soften it. We could call it something other than a lie. We could come up with a euphemism for it, but why? Why not talk plain, right? 90% of the time it's a lie, okay? And I don't think you make the lie maliciously. Certainly you don't, right? But there's several ways I could prove this wrong in short order. I could trot out the tried and true salesman line that says, hey, if you were dying and you needed a kidney transplant and it cost exactly the $997, right? And you had 24 hours to come up with the money, you're telling me you're going to die? No, you'll come up with the money, right? So that's true, but I don't think it really hits at the heart of the matter because that is such an unfair position to put somebody in. Of course, they can come up with it, right? But that might require significant sacrifices in other areas of their life that I don't want you to necessarily make, okay? Oftentimes when you say, I want it, but I can't afford it, what you're really communicating to me is that it's too risky for me to put money into this thing based on my financial situation. You perceive that the risk of either putting the money you do have because it would tap you out, or you would overextend yourself by having to borrow money in some way, shape, or form, whether borrowing it from creditors or borrowing it some other way, right? Or using collateral, right? Or the effort it would take for you to even think creatively on ways you could acquire the funds. The mere effort of creative thought on how you could come up with the funds is not worth it for you to invest in energetically. And so therefore you take the passive approach, which is I can't afford it. It's a simple answer, right? It's really easy to say. It's really easy to put out there. And it's really easy for you to even necessarily believe too. But I will tell you this from personal experience, which is not necessarily, it's anecdotal at best, right? It's not necessarily accurate even. But in my life, my greatest breakthrough ever came in this business was on something I couldn't afford. But I figured out a way to get it anyway. And I don't know if that made the difference for me, but the harder I had to earn something, the more I valued it. I don't know. And I've noticed that trait is present time and again in others as well who I've seen go from nothing, which is where I came from. Nothing would have been better than where I started. I started with less than nothing, right? And I've seen that commonality in that trait. Now, I don't know what the graveyard looks like of people who figured out a way to make something work, to invest in money and then couldn't still make it work, right? I'm sure that has happened too. But I will tell you, of all the things in my life that I could replace, money has been the easiest. It's amazing how it just keeps popping back up. Crazy how it keeps popping. Even college, when they cut off my meal plan and I couldn't even eat and I had no money, somehow I survived. And it wasn't nearly as hard as it should have been, right? I'll tell you what's hard to replace. Memories are hard to replace. Creating new experiences with people you love, those are hard things to replace. Cherishing those simple moments in your life. Like, when my son was singing to himself this morning, and it was the cutest thing I've heard in forever. That's hard to replace, those types of things. Those are things that are very hard to replace. What's very easy to replace is money. It is, okay? But
it may not seem to some of them today, right?
I know, right? I absolutely can empathize with you. Don't think that I can't.
We've worked with, and let's be fair. If you live in a country where,
so that's the other 10%, what Will's about to address. So 90% of the time it's a lie, 10% of the time it's true. So let's talk about when it's true, right?
So if you live in a country, for example, where the median or the average salary or the minimum wage is like $200 a month, you probably won't be able to afford it. And it does suck.
Yeah.
And I feel extremely bad for you, because anybody who truly can't afford this, it's unfortunate that those are the people that need it the most, right?
Yep. We have one of our ambassadors, Mubarak, who does exactly that, because he's broke that cycle. He now goes and supports communities exactly like that from where he came from.
Yeah. So we do understand. So I don't want you to feel like we just are jerks that just don't really get it. We do get it.
It's because I understand it, though, that I don't like it. I don't want you to settle for it if it's not actually true. Okay?
Yeah, because if you're not in that situation I just described, I've worked with, we've worked with 60 to 80,000 clients over the last decade.
Yep.
And I cannot tell you the numerous times that I've heard, I can't afford this. I need it, but I can't afford it. I want it, but I can't afford it. And I can tell you the numerous times when we've actually been able to have a one-on-one conversation with those people, and somehow miraculously they were able to afford it. And Jason is absolutely right, because we've tracked this. And those are the people that are the most likely to be successful. It just happens that way because they value what they've been able to achieve in a short period of time, more so than anybody else. You see, if I tell Jason, hey, dude, give me 2 days worth of your time and I'll give you $10,000, Jason is like, I don't know. I don't want that. I'm bored.
Bill says that, right?
Right? He's bored and he doesn't want it, right? But if I say to somebody who has in a really hard financial situation for 2 days of their time and I'll give them $10,000, they will really, 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 really appreciate that, right?
Yep.
So the level of appreciation for those that have a hardship is just that much higher. Which means
and the first course I ever invested in, Will, when I didn't have the money, here's how I had to do it. I had to have my boss, who was the last boss I ever had, thank God, charge it to his credit card, because I didn't have a credit card that could make the charge that big, right? And then over my paychecks that he paid me, that's how I paid him back. And that's how I made my first significant investment in this business, which was the game changer for me, right? That's what I did in order to make this work. And because I made that investment, you're damn right I showed up to every live call that happened. You're damn right I watched everything 1 or 2 or 3 times, right? Because I had more on the line to lose. Now, with that said, I've made $100,000 investments for business meetings where I only showed up to 1 of the 3 that I paid for.
And it's been worth it because of the return you received, right?
Maybe, but I had the luxury of being lax because it wasn't a necessity for me to follow.
So here's what I also know, Jason. For most people, I would believe that anybody who's not in a third world country, right, like we've addressed, who really truly have no means whatsoever, if you needed to come up with $2,500 to have a life-saving surgery next week, right?
Yeah, we know that to be true, right? But I think the biggest heart of the matter
we
is
know that you likely would find a way, right? Now, and by the way, please forgive me. I'm using a very exaggerated example. I don't mean to offend anybody. I know I'm exaggerating.
I already brought that up because it's true, but I'm sure everybody here will. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm being presumptuous. That has heard that before, right?
Well, maybe they have. Maybe they have. But the point is that your ability to come up with money, or come up with I'll say resources rather than money,
right, is
really there's a direct correlation to the importance that you give something, right? So there's nothing more important than saving your own life. I mean, we're wired to save our own lives no matter what. Like, we can't even stop breathing. Our body will make us unconscious and then start breathing, right? Our brain will do that because there's nothing more important than saving our own lives, right? So there's a level of importance that you're going to assign to this opportunity to help you get out of this problem that you're in.
Correct.
I don't want you to be in this problem that you're in right now, where you're saying, I want it, but I can't afford it. I need it, but I can't afford it. We have to break that cycle. Yeah. And so you need to figure out what level of importance you're going to assign it, to figure out what level of effort you're going to be willing to take in order to make it happen. You got 7 days. 7 days is an eternity, right? It may seem like it's simultaneously
really fast, but all the time in the world and not enough time at all.
It's both, right? It's very relative. I can tell you with absolute certainty, because I've personally worked with people who couldn't afford it. Look, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not suggesting you do this, right? But I've talked to individuals who, to be trained on an Amazon opportunity, sold their car. And I'm not telling you to do that. Don't do that, right?
Well,
I didn't think it was a good idea.
Philip, who gives us 2 of our bonuses here, Will, dipped into his daughter's college fund in order to start.
I had one guy, Jason, that I spoke with on my help desk, and said, I have one prized possession left. And it's like, I don't even remember. It was a signed guitar. It was an autographed guitar. Yep. It was a guitar. That's my last prized possession. I'm going to go to a pawn shop and pawn it. And gosh darn it, I'm going to make my money back to get that guitar back, right? So again, it's what is the level of effort? So I'm not telling you whether it's true or not. I'm not telling you whether you're lying to yourself or not. I'm just asking you. I'm just trying to help you understand, hopefully, right, that there's a relative importance that will make that effort that you're willing to put into it answer whether that is true or that is realistic or not.
So let me look at it from another angle, if I could, Will, right?
Let's give them some ideas of how to address this, Jason.
Yeah, so
we're talking about they have options, but let's give them some options.
The best thing I've ever done in my own career was understand better how I made good decisions versus how I didn't make such good decisions. So decision-making processes and things like that, I dove really deep into that psychology. And if we were to break this down and somebody says to me, Jason, I can't afford it, one of the first questions I would ask them if we were having a personal conversation is, how do you know you can't afford it? Because I'm trying to elicit their decision-making strategy is what we would technically call this, right? So I say, how do you know you can't afford it? And almost always the answer is because I don't have enough money. And I find that very interesting, that the only metric in whether you measure whether you can afford something or not is if you have enough money. And it's very easy to break that. It's not an actual accurate assessment, because like that car that you drive, did you buy that with your money, or did you not have enough money but bought it anyway? Oh yeah, I got that. What about the house you live in? Well, yeah, of course, I got that too, but you didn't have enough money. So it's not the only consideration. It is a consideration, but it limits your ability to understand the situation if that's the only perspective in which you view it. So if you ask somebody, you say, how do you know you can't afford it? And some of the times they'll give you a blank stare. That's the best time, when somebody gives you a blank stare, because it shows you that they haven't thought through it far enough. They just got scared with the idea of owning it, and they shut down the thought process, and they didn't go any further. And then so we typically look at what's at hand that can comfort us to justify not going any further. Oh, can't afford it is an easy one, so let me just gravitate towards that. And you don't know you're doing this consciously. This is all a subconscious process similar to blinking your eyes and breathing, right? So you say, you can't afford it? I don't know. I just feel like I can't, but I haven't thought about it further. Okay, great. Well, let's have that conversation. But here's the other way of looking at it, Will. How would you know if you could afford it? What would have to occur for you to be 100% confident that you could afford it? Or maybe 63% confident. By the way, what is the percentage of confidence you must feel in order for you to know that you can afford this enough? If it's 57%, I would say to you, how would you recognize when you can afford something with the confidence of at least 57% so you can make a yes decision? And now that is a far more interesting question to examine, because when I've asked that question to people, their answer is often, I don't know. And that tells me a lot. And by the way, that is healthy and that is common to not know. But the problem with that is, how do you know you hit a bullseye if you don't have a target? You don't. And so oftentimes the issue is you really don't know if you can afford it or can't afford it, because you don't know the difference between what you can afford and what you can't afford. Because you own things that you can afford and you don't own things that you can't afford. So there's a lot more going on here than a simple little number in a bank account that would decide whether you should move forward on this or not. Okay? So how would you know that you could afford the wholesale formula? What would have to occur, or what would have to be true for you to say, yes, I can afford this enough? Or even if I'm not sure I could afford this, I'm still going to go after it anyway, right? Let me give you a clue that I've discovered in my time on this earth, having dealt with the inner workings of a lot of people's minds to help them remove constraints and limitations to their thinking and replace limited thinking with unlimited thinking, okay? What I've discovered is most people feel like it is wrong to give themselves permission to want something just because they want it, right? I don't know what it is. It's a condition of society, or it's some other weird, stupid thing going on, cognitively speaking, but somehow people feel guilty to say, I want it because I want it. And so they have to come up with a reason or an excuse, right? I want it because I want it. I think that is perfectly valid. You know why? Because that's tapping into the intuitive part of you. That's channeling something beyond what thought alone can get you. And thinking is limited, right? I always thought I could rationalize and logic my way through the universe. And the cost of that was shutting off my emotions. And it wasn't a price that I would recommend you pay, and it wasn't worth paying in my own life, right? So what I'm saying is, if you're intuitively pulled to, I want this, ... I don't really, the rest of your sentence is not that important necessarily to the equation. I want this. Why do you want this? Because I do. Well, then you should figure out a way to own it. The question is figuring out a way to own it. What's that look like? What's the path to ownership? How could you go about getting that? That's a question that is really, really, really valuable to your well-being to ask. But instead, I want it, but I can't afford it. That's a conclusion. That's an answer, not a question. Do you see the difference? Do you understand how one is limiting while the other is unlimiting? You feel me here, right? I want it, but I can't afford it as a statement. That statement will be accepted as true, and you will not be able to move forward. That sucks. I want it. What would it take for me to afford it? That's a possibility. That is a question that will lead you to seek out an answer, as opposed to a final statement, which will be true regardless of what the statement is, right? I want it and I will be able to afford it is a far better statement to say if you're going to start throwing statements around, right? I want it and I don't need to afford it to get it is a statement worth considering and trying on for size, as opposed to the final statement of I want it, but I can't afford it, okay? Now, by the way, this thought process may still lead you to the same conclusion. Fantastic. You know what I love to do? Examine a position only to conclude it was the right position for me to take after examination. That is awesome. But what I don't like is making a snap decision and not examining it, because I don't learn and I limit myself. So all I'm asking you to do is not necessarily speak with finality here, but instead speak through curiosity. I want it. What's the path I would take to afford it? Or I want it. Do I necessarily need to worry about this whole concept of affording it? Because what does affording mean, right? I don't know what it means. What's the downside of not owning it? And is that less affordable? Because I'm going to tell you, for most of you, and I speak from experience here, because as Will said, we've seen so many people in this situation. It's like the person who comes to me and says, Jason, I want to meditate, but I don't have time to meditate. Well, guess who should meditate first? The person who has no time, because they need meditation more than anybody, right? It's the person who doesn't sleep hardly at all because they're so busy is the person who needs sleep the most and will benefit the most from it, but they're the hardest person to sell on it because they're too busy doing the small things. They're majoring in the minor things to step back and examine it from a higher level, right? So focusing on just cost alone and not the cost of not having it, that will give you a better insight. And maybe at the end of the day, you still conclude that it doesn't make sense as of now to do it. At least you know what you're giving up in order to make that decision. But the tendency is to knee-jerk. I want it, but I can't afford it is a statement that essentially shuts down thought process and doesn't allow growth. Growth can be, I want it, I'm not sure if I can afford it, let me examine it. That's okay. As long as you complete that routine. As long as you go through to the conclusion. But if you stay stuck and let me keep examining it, and let me examine my examination, and let me examine my examination of my examination, right? That's worse, because now you're stuck in a loop. And we don't want that either, okay? Which is one of the reasons why there's a deadline associated with this and a decision that needs to be made on your behalf. Otherwise, the decisions will be made for you. And I don't know about you, but I don't like other people making my decisions. But one way, come hell or high water, a decision will be made. You either can make it or it will be made for you. I want you to try this out. I know for some of you, it's going to hurt, okay? It's going to hurt. So we can accept that and say it will hurt, but it's worth doing anyway. Or we can shy away from it. But if we shy away from it now, what's going to change? Are we going to shy away from it every time it presents itself? Or are we going to change how we interact with it? Are we going to say, what would it take to be different? And maybe that's the key in the breakthrough. Maybe it's not even the wholesale formula that makes a difference. Maybe it's the fact that I got you engaged in a new way of thinking. And the wholesale formula just happened to be the vehicle that we drove in to get there. Maybe that's what will make the difference. I don't care. I just want the difference to be made. I know the thought process that you have. For any other reason, it's got you here. So there's something working with it because you're here. But it doesn't have to dictate where you go next. So you can thank it and you can appreciate it for what it's done for you. But it doesn't have to be the same way you make decisions going forward. Because if something needs to change in your life, it's you that needs to change first. Would you agree with that statement? For things to really change for you, you must first change. And what needs to change? So for some of you, it's the poor relationship that you have with money. And there's a reason why you don't have a whole lot of it, because of your relationship with it. And I don't mean that in a callous way, okay? And if you get pissed at me, you get pissed at me, right? Hopefully we have gained enough trust in each other so I can talk straight to you right now, right? It is the lack of relationship with capital that leads to the lack of capital. But if you truly understand and have relationship to capital, then it's easier to acquire it. The question is, how do you have a worthwhile relationship? Answer, you put time and effort into listening and understanding. That's the effort, right? That's the time. So you got to understand and examine. Is it the money issue? Or is there something bigger in here? Is this really what's holding me back? Or is there something more to it? When in my life have I made good decisions? And does this align with that now? Think of times in your life when you made really good decisions. What happened? How did you know it was a good decision? Now look at this. Does this align with the good decisions you've made in your life? If it does, you should buy it. If it doesn't, then don't buy it, right? The rest of this is window dressing for the most part, okay? Now, since I speak to the masses here, there's a lot of people here. There's always going to be some exception that proves the rule, right? Yes, there is somebody somewhere, due to the wonderful, beautiful power of the internet, that could be working, that could be getting a remote satellite internet connection in a situation where money isn't even a tender that's used to exchange good, but they trade in goats and chickens instead, right? Yes, you will not be able to afford this. No, we do not accept chickens through PayPal as a valid currency, okay? But I'm speaking to the 99% of you who have a decision to make that you can make either way, and I'm giving you information to help you make a decision that's in your best interest, okay? And I'm fighting a losing battle, by the way, because the 30, 40, 50, or 60, or 70 years of negative programming that went into your head, I'm trying to take that on in one measly little 3-hour webinar, 4-hour webinar now, Will. See, time doesn't really, I don't play by the rules of time like most people do, right? Time is different. I interact with it differently, but I'm still fighting a losing battle here. I'm taking on 55 years of negative programming.
You're not fighting a losing battle, Jason, because you're reaching the people that you're meant to reach. Okay, you're not going to reach everybody. We that doesn't mean we'll stop.
I'm trying to, in some instances, wage war on voices in people's head that for 55 years told them they weren't good enough, and I'm sitting there trying to convince them that they are good enough, right? In a lot of ways,
yeah. So we're getting questions here. I want to get to a couple more.
All right,
questions.
Bring me back to reality. I'm on Pluto at this point, right?
Yeah. Good stuff. It's so important, and most people don't spend time on that.
I've been very philosophical lately. Important. I don't know what it is.
I know what it is, but we'll leave that aside. And you have the right to be, and you're the right person to be, so that's okay. So, how quickly can you get a return on your investment?
How quickly do you want to get a return on your investment, right?
That's exactly right. It really depends on you. So let me be very clear about something that was mentioned earlier in the webinar, and there's some questions, so I want to clarify. Prime Day. Not every one of you that joins the program is going to have a product live by Prime Day, okay? You have to work pretty fast to get a product up by Prime Day. Some of you will, some of you won't. The thing is, if you don't, is it the end of the world? By the way, Prime Day it's sometime in October. The specific date hasn't really been announced yet. It's been announced a few times and changed, okay? So we're not totally sure when it actually is, but it's sometime in October. You have to work pretty darn fast to get a product there for Prime Day. But it doesn't matter, because if you don't make it by Prime Day, it is much, much, much more realistic that all of you can have a product up by Black Friday and before Christmas, right? And so what really matters, does it matter if, let's say, you're making no money right now, and if you only make, if you miss the opportunity to make 50 grand, but you make 25 instead because you missed Prime Day, I mean, does it really matter? Sure, it'd be nice to make a whole lot more money, right? But if you more than make your investment back in the course before the end of the year, is that really a problem, right? If you make a nice chunk of change, a nice profit before the end of the year, it is very, very feasible. Now, can we guarantee that? We cannot guarantee you're going to profit, because we don't know you. We don't know who you are. We don't know what you're going to do. You see, there are multiple types of people that will buy a course. A lot of people will buy a course, believe it or not. A lot of people will buy a course that costs $2,500 and not even ever log into the members area. Some of those people will refund, some of those people won't refund, because $2,500 is not that much to them, and they'll forget about it by tomorrow.
Yep.
It's sad, but it's true, right? Then there are those people that will go into the members area and they will watch every video. They will watch every single video, sometimes 3 or 4 times each video. They'll download every PDF. They'll open every spreadsheet or whatever other resources you're going to get. They will sign up and download every bonus, and they will do no work. They will literally not take 1 ounce of action.
Yep.
I don't know if you're that type of person. I can't guarantee you profits. I have no idea if you're going to do that. Some of you are going to do that. Unfortunately, I hate that. I wish you wouldn't, but you will, right? Some of you will. And if that's your tendency, please, it's time to break your cycle. Let's break your cycle and actually do something this time, right? Then there are those people that will take action, but for whatever reason, they think they're smarter than the system. Dylan and Dan will teach them do A, B, and C, and they say, you know what? I got a better system. I'm going to do D and F instead. Right? I understand what they said, but I'm going to do this other thing instead. Well, guess what? You're not following the formula. Now, some of these people that think they're smarter, they'll get lucky and they'll succeed.
Yeah.
But most won't. Okay, most won't. It's like they're going to, some of them are going to win the lot.
Some of them will, some of them will kinda, and others will fail, and then they'll say, I followed the system, and then you'll say, no, I don't.
No, you didn't. Yeah. No, you didn't. And then there are those people that will follow the system, will follow the formula because it is a formula, and those people are completely primed to succeed because they're following the formula that works.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And remember, following the formula doesn't mean following the formula one time. Doesn't mean contact one brand owner or one wholesaler and getting a no and say, oh, it didn't work. I followed it. Yeah, but part of the formula is trying 100 times,
Yeah,
right?
well,
It's contacting 100 brand owners or maybe that many, maybe not that many, but you got to contact a whole bunch. But here's the beauty of it. You can craft an email and you can copy and paste that email and send to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can send to us. You can easily email 50 brand owners in one single day, in one afternoon while you watch your favorite TV show on your DVR. I mean, it's totally easy to do.
In the time they've been on this webinar, they could have contacted 206 brands.
They had to have a little bit of work done ahead of time to contact them, right? Of course.
Yeah, I'm saying once you have that email that you just described, right?
Yeah, once you have that email. Yeah, so just make sure that following the system doesn't mean following the system once, right? Yeah. You will follow the system, you get ready, you contact brand owner after brand owner after brand owner, and then you will eventually, it's just statistics, right? Yeah. If I tell you that 1 out of 100, which is much more than that, by the way, but let's just say it was 1 out of 100, you may not, statistics is a really weird thing. Like Jason said earlier, you may get a yes the very first time, and then guess what's likely to happen? You get 99 no's after that, because statistically speaking, it would be 1 out of 100, right?
Yeah.
1 out of 100 sometimes means like you get 297 no's, and then you get 3 yeses. That's still 1 out of 100, but you have to go through 297, right? First. So statistics is this weird thing, and most of you hate math. I know most people hate math. So when I talk statistics, I'm going into off the deep end here, Jason. But now I'm getting mathly philosophical.
So 7 out of 100 will say yes if you do things the dumbest way possible, right? That's the statistics. That's actual real world data, okay? You will do much better with minimum training, which is provided in the Wholesale Formula. But here's the hardest part, in my opinion, Will, of dealing with this formula, is sometimes when you stick your hand in the magic bag to pull out the money, sometimes it'll be a $20 bill, sometimes it'll be a $50, sometimes it'll be a $100 bill, right? Even though you follow the formula, sometimes it will spit out profit centers that do thousands a month, and sometimes it will spit out ones that do several thousand or tens of thousands, right? And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with, even though I do the formula, sometimes it's several thousand per month, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's a little less, because you don't care about any specific products return. Just get your stream of income up, then get your second one up, then get your third one up. And on the high level, it doesn't matter if some of them do 1,000 and some of them do 4,000 a month, some of them do 2,000, some of them do 3,000. I'm talking net profit here, by the way, not the fake numbers that everybody trots out before you have to pay everybody else off, right? I'm talking in your pocket net profit. And that's okay. Get your first one so you can get your second one. Get your second one so you can get your third one. Follow the formula and repeat it. And then you will have a mixed portfolio of different products that do anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000 a month. But you won't care about any specific individual product, because adding them all up together will be life-changing for you. And that's what matters the most. But yeah, you got to follow the formula. Am I going to?
So Jason, we're 4 hours and 10 minutes into this webinar. I think we've answered all the questions. I'm going to suggest that we close this webinar.
I have to go to the bathroom anyway.
That's a great reason, as great a reason as any other, to close the webinar. So why don't we just close this webinar? Any final parting comments, Jason?
No, I mean, other than signing up is my parting comment. And, at this point, it transcends a sale. I mean, we wouldn't sit on a webinar for 4 hours and 11 minutes just to make a sale, right? Clearly, there's something beyond making the sale. Maybe, Jerry, I say we care. That shows up when we put this time and effort in. So we got your back, and it doesn't stop here. It continues. This is just the beginning. But we're willing to hang in there with you. And who does that? People that really truly care about you. And that's what we have here. So we're trying to combine our heart with this, which is the best unfair advantage. And I choose that word very deliberately, unfair, because life is not fair. Life isn't fair. But that doesn't mean that you can't do what you want in life. You can acknowledge it's unfair. And how do I navigate through a world that's unfair? Well, you get an unfair advantage. And that's what we have here. When you combine the unfair advantage with the heart and the soul and the effort and passion we put in behind it, I'm saying go to quadwin.com. Let's get going. That's my final words.
I will echo about caring, Jason. We are here because we want to change lives. We've changed many, 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 many lives, thousands of lives for the better by teaching people how to sell on Amazon. We have now found a better opportunity than we've ever seen before with the Wholesale Formula, and it's better because it's here and now. What we taught 5 years ago was the best at that point, right, in time. Yep. Now this is the best, given a whole lot of situations, a whole lot of market pressures, the pandemic that's going on, et cetera, a lot of reasons why this is now the best option for selling on Amazon. And it just happens to be the easiest as well, which is amazing. Serendipitous how that happens, right?
Yeah, so I don't think it was coincidental.
No, and so you have until the timer hits 0. If you go to quadwin.com, you'll be redirected to another URL that has a timer on it. On that page, you will see you see everything you get, including all the bonuses. On that page, you will see the bonuses listed. Underneath every bonus, it tells you when you get that bonus. Not every bonus is available to you right away, but it tells you exactly when that bonus will come to you. We make everything as transparent as possible. We tell you there about the 30-day money-back guarantee. There are no conditions for that guarantee. You just simply ask for it before the 30 days are up, and you get it if you'd like to leave, right? If you do stay, you're going to continue to get access to a community that Dylan and Dan have put together of successful sellers that are there helping each other. And the reason they're there helping each other is because they are thankful and grateful for what Dylan has done for them. And they want to also contribute and change other people's lives. So you have successful sellers that are there day in and day out, answering questions and helping other members become successful. Not only will you hear about their success stories, but they'll give you great tips and tricks and techniques and things that they've learned. And Dylan and Dan, as much as they've done and as good as they are about at what they do and what they've created here, they also continue to learn. And so as they continue to learn, they continue to update the course. And as they update the course, you get free access to all new course updates that are going to come up because they want you to continue being successful. There are no upsells to this program. You pay the fee that you see on that page on the screen right there. It's either 3 payments of $9.97 or 1 payment of $24.97, and you get in. There are no upsells or anything else that you have to buy to get this to get all of the training and get access to their members only group and all of our bonuses, right? This is it. What do you have to do next? You have to go through the training and do the work. And that's what it's going to take to succeed. You have until the timer hits 0 on that page, and then the offer will automatically close. Don't try and buy it. Don't test it. I also will give one little bit of caution to folks. It happens every time that we've ever promoted something that had a timer on the page. Folks will wait until the very last minute. They're like, oh, should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? And then they try and do it, and a tragedy occurs, and it locks them out because it's a sizable investment. Your credit card may flag the purchase and not allow you to purchase. You may have to call your credit card and say, yeah, it's me that is trying to buy this. It's a legit purchase. Guess what happens if you try the last minute? You won't have time to call your bank and clear it up. There are all kinds of other things that can happen. So set your timer and subtract a day or 2 or 3 and say, no, this is my deadline. This is absolutely my deadline. Make your deadline tonight or tomorrow night so that if something goes on, you still have the opportunity to get it resolved before the timer hits 0, because when it hits 0, it's gone. So with that, if you have any questions, any issues, making a payment, anything at all that you need that we can help you with, write to support@rapidcrush.com. support@rapidcrush.com. If you don't remember that, and if you wrote it down and you lose the piece of paper where you wrote it down, just go to quadwin.com. At the very bottom of the page where you will be, there's a link to support. Click on that. We will answer your support question faster than anybody has ever answered a support question for you before. Our team is super quick. They're super helpful. They're well trained. They're very knowledgeable. Our team does not answer questions about the course content because we didn't create the course. Our team is not trained on the course, but they can help you with purchase questions, access related questions, and stuff like that very, very quickly. So support at rapidcrush.com, or find the support link when you go to quadwin.com at the very bottom of the page. I look forward to hearing about your success story, and I'm going to ask you one more thing. I'm going to ask you for a personal favor. When you go through the program and when you establish your business and you're successful, and when you're celebrating your success for the first time, remember support at rapidcrush.com and send an email. Send us an email saying what it has meant to you and what you've been able to achieve, because money drives us, there's no doubt. The commissions we get for selling you this program, absolutely great. But what really drives us to not only try and sell this program, but to stay for over 4 hours in a webinar, is changing lives. And we love to hear success stories, and it keeps us going. And oftentimes it's happened that I've met somebody at a conference and they said, "Hey, Will, nice to finally meet you in person." Or, "Hey, Jason, nice to finally meet you in person. I want to tell you thank you because 3 years ago you sold me this program and you taught me this thing and it's made me a millionaire." I was like, seriously, you waited 3 years? You couldn't have sent us one email or a postcard or something? We would have loved to hear about it way before that, right? Yeah. So don't make us wait for years to hear about your success. Tell us. We'd love to hear from you. And I know we're going to get a lot of success stories from this. I know we get a lot of them that don't ever tell us. So don't be one of those that don't tell us. Share with us, because I think it's just really, really cool. It really keeps us going, and we really, truly appreciate it. So anything you need, support at rapidcrush.com. 4 hours, 19 minutes. Can we call it before 4 hours 20, Jason?
Well, we started, I don't know. To me, quadwin.com, I want you to go there. We're going to wrap it up now. Support at rapidcrush.com if you need help of any sort, and we'll get the replay out. So if you need to think it over a little bit more, do so, but think it with purpose, okay? And we'll talk soon.
Take care.